Okay, welcome everybody to the Tuesday night live stream. For anybody who's wondering what the heck you just watched there, that somebody said it in the chat was correct. That is an Amiga demo. For those who don't know what a demo is, you had these groups of people. I guess maybe you still do. I don't really know, but it was a really popular thing in the late '80s and early '90s. You would get these guys together who brought various talents to the table, like being able to write music or do graphics or programming. And they would put together these, they were called demos, and they were just meant to sort of show off the power of the hardware and the power of their talents. And so all these demo groups would kind of have a friendly competition with each other, and they would have like meetings, like worldwide meetings where they'd all get together somewhere and do their demos and stuff. And that demo is called State of the Art by a group called Spaceballs. And I wanted to show that somewhere tonight, and I couldn't figure out where. And so I figured that I would just make that the intro. So, and then what you were seeing there just now was just, I already got the first game kind of starting to load up, and that was just the cracking team or whatever. So, anyway, I hope you guys liked that demo. So, as everybody I think knows by now, we're streaming the Amiga 500 tonight. Hopefully I sound okay. I'm trying to monitor the chat room on my iPad, so I guess we'll see how that goes. And so I've got like 6 or so games that I've got picked out for us to play. And the first one here is Turrican. And, I have the sound on the game turned up way too high. So, once again, I'll leave it up to you guys to let me know if that sounds okay. One thing I just want to warn people about right now is that some of these games have pretty long loading times. And I do have this, for those of you who watched the video I uploaded yesterday, kind of showing off the Amiga setup. I have this floppy drive emulator, but it really is literally just a floppy drive emulator. So it still takes the same amount of time to load something as it normally would. So it's not like some kind of super fast flash card or something. Somebody says, hold on, I need to fix. The other thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to kind of constantly, depending on the game we're playing, constantly adjust the game screen because they're all a little bit different. So I'm kind of breaking the fourth wall maybe. The game audio is too loud. Hopefully it isn't now, and someone let me know if it's still too loud. Although I can't imagine that it is. I have the meters in front of me here. I know I talked about Turrican in the past. This was a game that I sort of semi-had for the Genesis, in that I had it on long-term loan from a friend of mine. Who hated the game, but I always liked it, and so I was happy that he let me borrow it for so long. But I knew that the Amiga, I didn't know this back in high school, but I'm saying for a long time I've known that the Amiga kind of had the definitive version of Turrican, and that was one of the big reasons that I wanted an Amiga. Okay, people are saying it's better, so that's awesome. Yeah, it does have good music, and hopefully you can still kind of hear it, but I also don't want it to be competing with my voice, so... but, yeah, that's something we can definitely talk about. So, the Turrican, the whole series, I think, the music was written by a guy named Chris Hulsbeck. And personally, I would put the guy right up there with Yuzo Koshiro, which some people might say that's sacrilegious, but I think the Turrican music is amazing, and actually the game we're going to check out right after this, which is not related to Turrican in any way, also had the soundtrack written by Chris Hulsbeck, and it sounds awesome. And obviously Yuzo Koshiro himself is a fan of Chris Hulsbeck because he actually, they worked together on an album where Koshiro remixed some of the Turrican music. So, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody out there that's really not familiar with Turrican. Like I said, I know I've talked about it, at least like in a magazine read-through or something. But, you know, as you can see, it's a side-scrolling action game, you know, similar to, like, I don't know, a Contra or something, I suppose. Except the levels are a lot more, like, not open world, but the levels are very large. And, you know, obviously every level has a beginning and an end. But how you get between the two is kind of up to you. And there's a lot of exploring that you can do, and there's a lot of like extra lives that you can get, like secret areas with tons of extra lives. And like a lot of people complain about how hard Turrican is, but the thing is, the game gives you like just tons and tons of extra lives. So, but you have to find them. And you know, by no means am I an expert on, I mean, not just Turrican, but really any of the games we're going to be playing tonight. But, you know, even for me, like with a little bit of practice, you can get kind of decently far in the game. You see I'm picking up all these like power-ups and stuff, and they all do different things. Some of them will change your weapon. That yellow P with the yellow P. The yellow letter P, or the yellow circle with the red letter P in it, that refills your health completely. So that's like, you know, almost as good as an extra life, especially like you can see right now in the lower right. I'm kind of hurting for health, you know, because I'm trying to talk and play the game at the same time. And so hopefully, you know, I'm not going to die here pretty soon, but I got to kind of watch it with these two. You know, I think most people in general prefer the spread weapon in games that allow you to have a spread weapon. But for sure, it's not as potent as the other. Like the other main weapon you can get. I mean, when you start off the game, you just have like a little pea shooter. But oh man, but you can get this thing that it looks like a laser gun, but like ridiculously huge. And that's a very powerful weapon. But then, of course, it only shoots straight ahead, and so. It's kind of not optimal, and you can see we're already about to die again because, like I said, you know, it's hard. I'm trying to talk and play the game at the same time, so I'm not trying to make excuses. But and then I'm not going to try too many times just because I don't want to annoy people. But there's a bunch of extra lives that you can get over this way, but it's kind of tricky to get over there because you have to make like a leap of faith right here, and then you have to let go. Oh, alright, I did it. Earlier today I had to do that like about 10 times before I got it, and that was really, I was already thinking that was going to be annoying. So see, this is kind of like the little secret hidden area. These little diamonds are just points, but I'm going to go up a little bit and you're going to see that there's a bunch of extra lives up here. But obviously we don't want to get killed going up there and trying to get them. I saw somebody said this game looks really good. Yeah, this game is really good, and like I said, you can just play it on the Genesis, and it's good on the Genesis. I think if we go out here, there's like one more extra life. It's also, so the Genesis version looks a little bit different because the colors aren't quite as vibrant. But other than that, like, you know, the resolution and everything looks nice. Oh man, so I fell, so I didn't get, there's one more extra life I could have gotten I didn't get. But you can also play this game on the TurboGrafx 16, like I don't know if you have a flash card or whatever for your TurboGrafx 16. And then that game, that version in my opinion, looks a lot more similar to this version. Sorry, I just ate dinner. The only thing is, if you play it on the TurboGrafx, of course, you only have a 2-button controller. And then I think you use the select button for your special weapon, if I remember correctly. Which is not that big of a deal. It's still better than, like I said, you know, like I talked about in the video that I uploaded yesterday. You know, if you play it on an Amiga, you know, with like a normal joystick or something, then you have to press up to jump, which, at least in my opinion, is really annoying. So that's the end of level 1. And we'll just pause. One thing that's cool about this game is that when you pause it, the music doesn't shut off. which I think is pretty cool. You're driving home from work and have this running on your phone through the car's Bluetooth. That's pretty cool. Just please don't get in an accident. What else we got? Hey, Mr. Mass Produce. Glad you like the show. Wasn't the old Universal Soldier game a repackaged Turrican game? Yeah, so Universal Soldier came out on the Genesis. It was one of those Accolade games that came in a cardboard box, and that was Turrican 2. And then Mega Turrican is Turrican 3. So really all three Turrican games are on the Genesis, but the Universal Soldier obviously has been slightly hacked so that the main character of Turrican doesn't look like, he looks different or whatever. You wish Turrican was a Metroidvania? That would be cool, although, like I said, the game, it's linear, like I said, because there's a beginning and an ending, but to each level, but, there's a lot of exploration that you can do throughout the levels. Hey Dave, you're a good man. Well, I try to be, I guess. Okay, anyway, so we'll unpause. And so this is actually a boss battle, which for some reason, the boss battle is at the beginning of the level instead of you'd think it would be at the end of the last level. I think we have to just go a little bit farther in order to trigger it. And we're going to get this big crazy hand. And the two ways you can kill this guy, obviously you can just use whatever I forgot what this thing is called. We also have grenades, so if you look along the bottom of the screen there, you have, it's a lot of information, right? You have how many lives you have left, how many continues you have left, how many times you can turn into like this little saw blade that rolls across the ground, which I haven't done yet, but you'll see that in a minute. The time remaining, if the time runs out, of course, you just lose your life. And next to that is the number of the little jewel things that we've picked up. And hold on, I think I need to go up here. Ooh. Yeah. So now, if we go up here, and here's another place that we can get a whole mess of extra lives. So, look how many. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 extra lives. That's ridiculous. So anyway, going back to the bottom of the screen there, you have how many of those little jewel things you've picked up, which again, I don't know if you get something if you pick up a bunch of those, if you pick up all of them in a level or something. I seem to remember that Gunlord, which of course, Gunlord was sort of like a love letter to Turrican here. If you found all the jewels in each level, you got some kind of bonus or something. Next to that, you have like that thing that looks kind of like a bowling ball. Those are actually your grenades. The only way I know of to shoot the grenade in this game is I have to reach over to the keyboard and hit the Alt key. I don't know if there's an easier way, because you have a special weapon on the controller, but that does the last one over, which is the little sweepy thing. There must be a way actually to change it, because I don't know what that little thing looks like. A fly does. I don't remember. I guess that's pretty lame, but I don't know. If somebody does know, tell me. Or I can just try hitting the buttons on the keyboard. So, but no matter what, if you played this game on the Amiga back in the day, or if you play it now, even if you use a joystick, you can't get completely away from having to use the keyboard, because there's just too many. It needs too many buttons. But it's a lot better than playing it. So this game was originally developed for the Commodore 64, believe it or not, and then you had to play it with a one-button joystick. So imagine how much fun that probably wasn't. So I think right here, if you turn into the little saw blade, you can pretty much just power through this whole section. You're basically invincible when you're doing that. The only way you can die is if you fall down a pit. That's, of course, going to kill you. I could swear, I think if we go over here, maybe there's even some more extra lives. Like I said, this game is very generous with extra lives. So, you can watch, there's, of course, somebody on YouTube that has some kind of crazy playthrough of this game. And, no, that's not the right spot. I think there's somewhere around here, though, where you can get a bunch of extra lives in this level, you know, there's someone that has some kind of awesome playthrough of this game where they beat the whole game. And I mean, I think that people play this game and they just think like, oh, I'm dying too much. This game is too hard. But it's just kind of something when you play Turrican, you just kind of have to accept that you're just going to die sometimes. And, you know, that's the whole reason that it gives you so many extra lives. It's just like, it's okay to go ahead and die sometimes because there's plenty more lives where that came from. Okay, so I'm going to pause it. Let's just pause it again. And love that cap is Chris's initials. Yeah, I mean, it was just a lucky coincidence. Gunlord is a great homage to Turrican, and sometime in the next few weeks, I'm going to do a Neo Geo live stream, and then we're definitely going to play Gunlord. Amiga has racing games. Yeah, I'm going to play a couple of racing games tonight, just at least to show you real quick. So, is the Super Nintendo version a sequel or the same game? Yeah, that's Super Turrican, so that's a sequel. There's on the Super Nintendo, there's Super Turrican and Super Turrican 2, which, you know, for anybody that might not know, if you buy that Super NT console, it actually has both of those games built in, which is nice because those games are pretty expensive if you want to buy them. I'm lucky I have Super Turrican 1, but Super Turrican 2 is really expensive, but I actually like the first one better anyway, so it's okay. Are you running this on emulation? No, it's on an Amiga, real Amiga. Oh, hey, Todd's here. I tried to get Todd to jump on and sort of be a guest tonight, but I guess he didn't. He must not have time to hang out the whole time. But anyway, that's him in the chat room. Todd's Nerd Cave. We all have him to thank for this awesome Amiga that I have. And on top of that, I had some technical problems with it last night. Something happened to the software on the floppy emulator, and Todd helped me out to get it fixed before the stream. So just that's extra thanks to Todd. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the game. We're not, you know, I couldn't beat this game anyway, but, you know, I don't want to spend, like, the whole live stream playing one game, but I'd at least like to get out of this first area, because the area after this has really cool graphics, and of course, I mean, the whole game has amazing sound. So here we picked up, because I was just kind of blasting through, here we have, this is that laser weapon that I was talking about. I think you can get through that area, but I guess you got to time the jump just right. I'm not going to bother. So like I said, I mean, this weapon is very powerful. Like, it kills those little sentry things in one hit, which is cool. But the fact that it only shoots in one direction is kind of a real buzzkill for me. So I'm hoping maybe I can find... ooh, get out of here, get out of here. I'm hoping I can find... I guess it's maybe in this area where the 9 million extra lives are. Not 9 million, but you can get a whole mess more of extra lives. I think it's in this level. We already have 13, but I think we can get I think at least 5 more, if not more than that. But I remember it was next to like an area. Oh, I think this is oh man, I died. So this is like an optional boss, which I know that sounds probably kind of weird. There we go. See, so I reached over and hit the Alt button so that I could shoot the grenade. So that's basically a boss that you don't have to fight, but if you end up walking this way, like, then you have no choice but to fight, you know, him or her. Which, you know, I mean, I guess it's points, right? And if you're trying to beat the game, I guess maybe you don't want to try to say that you beat the game if you didn't even beat all the bosses. Ah! Got stuck. Yeah, sorry, I real quick I see Todd's talking about Shadow of the Beast, and he says the best part is the music, and I don't know what that's in reference to, but yeah, Shadow of the Beast is really not, in my opinion, a very good game, but it does have cool music. Yeah, there we go. I think it's like somewhere through here that I have to go to get to all those extra lives. Well, you can see I'm kind of plowing through them. Here we go. It wasn't this way. Hey, everybody get away from me. Wow, there's slowdown. Look at that. But, I mean, in all fairness, that is a lot of stuff going on the screen. No, it's not up here. I'll try to find it. There we go. This guy won't leave me alone. There we go. I just really want to see. Maybe not. All right. So I don't know. I don't know where it was, but I missed out on it. So this is the end of the level, and so what you have to do. See, I don't know if it will come through on the streaming software. You can see that little box is blinking a little bit. So you shoot that box and destroy it, and this platform comes up, and you have to hop on it, and then you're going like down into this whole station. I'm gonna pause it real fast after the next level loads here. Sorry, so the disk is accessing because now it's loading a new area. There's like a little buzzer. I talked about it in the walkthrough, but I think I edited it out. But there's like a little buzzer that I think doesn't come stock. I think Todd put it in here. That way the little emulator, the floppy drive emulator, makes a little bit of noise, and that way it's nice because then you know it's doing something. Because otherwise you might just think that your system's hung up, but you can hear it kind of ticking, and then you know that it's just reading the virtual disk. So, oh, Todd's got a cold. I'm sorry, man. I hope you feel better. But I hope, Todd, please come be a guest another time. I'd really like to start having guests on the show. So, this is not the last time we're going to do an Amiga stream. I just think, Todd had an Amiga back in the day, and so I think he'll have probably a lot more interesting things to say about it than me. Thoughts on time limits in a game? Yeah, I think it's kind of annoying, especially a game like this that really kind of encourages exploration. Like, let me take my time then and explore the level, Maybe in some... I don't want to make a blanket statement and say that time limits in games are always bad, and certainly I understand why they had them in the arcade, but yeah, let me cruise around and check stuff out, if we go up here, there's a couple extra lives, but I guess I didn't point it out on the way down, but, so this type of floor right here, this green and silver floor, so you can destroy it. So if you get in here and you just whip the lightning whip, or I forgot what it's called, around, then you can't get up there and get the extra lives. So I feel bad that we didn't find the area in the last level with the extra lives, but I don't know why it's really important. Actually, let me make sure there's nothing over here. Oh, there's nothing over here. So we don't have to play this game for too much longer, just because, like I said, we got kind of a long list of games to check out. But I guess one thing... So I guess the main thing I wanted to talk about this game was, and I think I started to say it and then lost my train of thought, but this game was actually the whole reason originally that I wanted an Amiga. Like, I always heard about, how the Amiga was this awesome home computer and had all these great games, but I just didn't know anything about it because I never knew anybody when I was a kid that had an Amiga. Everybody I knew at school were PC people. I didn't even really know anybody that had an Apple II, or I had one friend who had a Macintosh at home because his mom was a teacher, and that was pretty popular. I think they must have given discounts to teachers because Mac computers, Apple computers have always been very expensive compared to pretty much anything else. I guess, when the Apple I came out or something, that was actually a pretty good deal. But, and maybe when the Apple II came out, that wasn't a bad deal. But, the Apple II GS was very expensive, the Apple IIc, and pretty much every Macintosh computer that has ever come out. And I say that as somebody that uses Macintosh computers, well, Macintosh and PC. They're super expensive, and but I had a friend who he had, I think this was, while Steve Jobs wasn't at Apple. He had one of those Mac Quadras, and I remember going over there and you'd see like Macintosh hardware, and it would be like fascinating. Oh man! But at the same time, it's like, oh, you have any games? And it was always like, no, because there were not really. I mean, it's a false statement to say that there were no games on the Mac, but like, if you were a gamer, that was like definitely not the system that you wanted to have. And so even though like I thought that Quadra looked really neat, you know, I had a 386 at home with a hard drive that was like chock full of like, you know, all of the best games from the early and mid 90s. So I didn't want to know nothing about that. But my point was just so none of us had Amigas, even though you know, really, you know, I mentioned in that video yesterday that the Amiga came out in '87. But if you really go and look at all of the marquee Amiga games, I would say that like late '89 maybe was like when like the big time games really started to hit the Amiga. This game came out I think in 1990, but I can't remember. I think we have nope. Every game we're playing today came out in 1990 or later. I know like the Batman the movie game that came out in Great Britain, they actually bundled that with, they had a special Batman bundle, and that came out in Christmas of '89. But yeah, most of the games came out in the early '90s, and like I said, by then over here we were all kind of PC crazy. I only knew I think one kid who had a Commodore 64. I think I already told that story maybe, but that was the first time I ever saw a Commodore 64 in action. This kid had it in his bedroom. I was so jealous because, like, I always wanted a computer when I was a kid. And this kid had a freaking Commodore 64 set up in his room. And, you know, that was, of course, a very inexpensive computer. He didn't even have the disk drive or anything. He would just play cartridges. I think there's a boss battle right here. Yeah. I have to fight this superfish. So what we want to do here is I hit him with 3 grenades, but it didn't work. This one, like this boss, watch when I kill the boss, all of these like spiky steel balls come out. It kind of reminds me of Castlevania, the way, you know, there were some bosses in Castlevania, maybe not the first Castlevania, where you would kill them, but then they would be able to launch, they would have some like little like last shot at you even though they were dead. And then we have to go down that pit right there, but I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And so that kind of reminds me of that, you know. But again, this game gives you a lot of extra lives. I'm sure I'm missing more extra lives than I'm grabbing. I should probably have at least 20 by now. Plus I've died several times, obviously, so. So anyway, like I was saying, this was the game that made me really want to get an Amiga because I really wanted to play this version of Turrican. And I was able to figure out like how to get an Amiga emulator to work and play this game that way, but that just made me want one even more. But I never really sat down and did the research to see what other games were available for the platform. And then, you know, Todd told me he was sending me an Amiga. And then when it got here, you know, it had, I guess I said I was going to show how the disk drive thing works, so I'll just show it real quick so you can see. But the little thumb drive hooked in to the floppy emulator is just full of games and software. And I mean, you think an EverDrive has a lot of games on it, you should see how many are on this thing. And so, like, I needed some guidance to know, like, where do I even start? You know, like, what games should I be checking out? I mean, I'm sure, you know, the first game I played was Turrican, and probably the second game I played was Sensible Soccer. Just because, well, we'll talk about Sensible Soccer when we're going to play that one today, so I think I might have just screwed up. No, I'm good. So here's a bunch more extra ones. But beside that, you know, I didn't really know what games to even try out, and I don't know if I must have screwed something up so I can't get up there anymore. Oh no, I think I see what you have to do. Ooh, that's going to be hard. Ooh, got it. Nope, don't got it. So I don't know. I don't even know why I care. But so anyway, you know, I started watching YouTube videos. Probably the main channel that I was checking out was a channel called Lemon Tube Amiga, and you know, because they that channel, they do these things that are called play guide reviews, and you know, like each episode is like 10 minutes or more long. And, you know, it's sort of like it sounds like. It's kind of a play guide review. It's like, here's how to play the game. Here's, you know, features of the game, and also kind of a review. And I think I binge watched that channel and was just taking notes. Or I would go to, like, lemonamiga.com, where they have, like, the top however many games listed, and I was just writing those down. Because, of course, I had this, so I could just load up the games and try them. And then I made, I think, there's, like, a favorites folder on the USB drive, and so I just sort of copied all the good games into that, or my favorite games. But of course, all the games are on here. So I'm gonna just check out the chat here again real quick. Oh, Todd says he has a great story about his first experience with the Amiga. Maybe he can share that. Yeah, I would love to hear about that. So yeah, I mean, let's definitely let's make it happen. We can circle back to the Amiga maybe like in a month or something. So, David Carmichael, any other definitive versions of other popular games on the Amiga? Yeah, off the top of my head, I would say like the Lotus Turbo Challenge games for sure. I'd have to think about that more to come up with some good answers, but overall, I would say yes. Oh, well, Cannon Fodder. We're going to play Cannon Fodder tonight. Cannon Fodder came out on a ton of systems, but the Amiga, by far, in my opinion, has the best version. X-Wing is what started Mike the Red on the PC game path. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about X-Wing, at least on Flashback, and maybe I'll probably do a live stream of that game at some point. At some point, I want to start live streaming PC games. Leisure Suit Larry got me started on the PC. Well, I got some stories about Sierra games. We'll get to that pretty soon on Flashback. Sero says the music in this game sounds really cool. Yeah, I mean, you should check out the soundtrack. You know, on YouTube or something. The music in this game is crazy good. Impressive visuals. Yeah. So I mean, you know, I wasn't expecting this to look this good. Yeah, I mean, it looks. You know, imagine, you know, this system has the same processor as the Sega Genesis, but in many other ways is more powerful. So I mean, it's kind of like a roided out 16-bit system, really. I mean, for the most part, the sound is much better. I mean, there's little exceptions you could say. Like I just mentioned, Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder did come out on not the Genesis but the Mega Drive. And like the sound effects in that version are actually better than on the Amiga. But overall, I mean, the music and the sound effects on the Amiga look better. I think the Amiga's got a better color palette. And I mean, yeah, it's just, you know, again, it's just like maybe, you know, a lot of people don't know, right? Because they never got to experience the Amiga, but I mean, there's a reason why it's held in such high regard amongst like gamers, you know, and classic computing people. Is, you know, especially if you're really into 16-bit games like I am. The Amiga, first of all, like I said, it looks great and it sounds great, but then it also provides you with like this whole treasure trove of games that you never got to check out. Like I had never played Cannon Fodder before I got this computer, and you know, I couldn't believe what I've been missing out on because as you'll see, Cannon Fodder is very similar to Syndicate, which was one of my favorite PC games. And they actually came out in the same year, because I played that, and you're kind of thinking, well, wait a minute, you know, like, I think one of these games took some serious design cues from the other, but the games actually came out about 6 months apart, so it's not really possible that one game ripped off the other. So I'm not going to play Turrican for too much longer here. Maybe we can just get to the end of this level, just because we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight, and so I don't want us to get hung up playing one game. Yeah, this was like a dead end, so, oh, I think I have to go up here. Maybe. Or this is just a bonus area. I remember this level being pretty big, so. And I think there's some kind of weird, crazy boss battle around here someplace. See if I can get up. Oh, it disappeared. Crazy. Alright, well, we're not going up there then. Let's see if we can find the end of this level. I really don't remember where it is. Oh, yeah, this is the end of the level, but you have to fight this guy. Oh, man. Stupid things. There we go. So that was ugly, but so that gets us to the end of that level. So I think now is probably a pretty good time for us to change games. Although now I have to wait because now it's loading the next area. But Creative Assassin, I was expecting monochrome visuals. Well, like I said, if you don't have any experience with the system, then how are you supposed to know? So it's no big deal. Rockman, you didn't get into PC gaming until Windows 95, man. You missed out. Creative Assassin, thanks for doing the live streams. Well, I mean, thank you guys for hanging out for the live streams, to be honest. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say that this really gives me something to look forward to on Tuesdays. Like, I'm excited every Tuesday now that we're going to do this live stream together. And, it gives me a reason to pretty much just play games for fun. So, I mean, look how many people are in here. It's really cool, and it's more than I ever expected. So, the Amiga uses all sample-based audio. Oh, okay. Will you ever do a Tandy 1000? I don't have a Tandy 1000, but boy, I would sure love one. Okay, so the next game we're going to check out. Let me just get it started loading because it's going to take. Actually, this one doesn't take too long to load, I don't think. There it is. So this next game, I just wanted to show it real quick. First of all, oddly enough, and maybe Todd could weigh in on this, but there doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of shooters on the Amiga, which is kind of odd because it was sort of, during its heyday was when like shooters were kind of a big deal. A lot of people think that this is one of the best shooters on the system, and I think it's pretty cool. The main reason that I wanted to show this game is that the soundtrack for this game was written by the same guy that did Turrican, which is Chris Hulsbeck. So this game is called Apidia, or Apidia. This was made by a Japanese company, Keiko, or I might not have that right. Looks like I'm going to have to adjust the screen real quick, maybe just move it up. Yeah, Keiko. And you see it has that Roman numeral 2, but it's not the sequel to anything. Apparently, like, they just thought that would be funny. So I don't really know. But we're just going to really play through like the first level because, again, I really wanted you guys to hear the music from the first level just because I think it's pretty cool. So I'm actually probably just going to go ahead and boost up the audio on the game, and I might even just mute the mic. Well, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to boost the audio on the game a little bit. And if it's too loud, you guys can tell me, but I want you guys to hear it and not me. Not going to make any changes here. And I think now it's going to have to load a little bit more. Yeah, Todd says there's a lot of shooters, but a lot of them are bad. Man, well, that's too bad. Still loading. Although there's music playing in the background. Alright, here we go. All right, so there you go. End of the first level already. But I mean, doesn't that music sound awesome? And then in this level, it's kind of the same music, but it's almost like a remixed version, like a more easily listening version or something, a version of the music from the first level. But I mean, like I said, I just wanted you guys to check it out real quick, just because it really is a cool game, though. I mean, it's got a very unique graphical style. Like, people say that, like, you know, the graphics are like hand-drawn graphics, but I mean, I never kind of understood that. Like, back in these days, like, weren't all graphics hand-drawn? But I guess they're just, you know, referring to sort of the style, which, like I said, looks pretty cool. I don't know how to pause the game so that I can turn the volume back down, so I know maybe it doesn't sound great, because the game audio is competing with my voice, but you're just going to have to turn it. Dead. Alright, so I got the audio turned down. Maybe if I can make it to the boss looks really cool. I don't know if he's like a mole or something. Some kind of mammal that you have to fight. It just looks kind of funny. So maybe if we can make it to the boss, that'd be kind of fun. These ladybugs are very hard to kill. As you can imagine, ladybugs have armor. You have to be careful because even though you're an insect, you can't touch the ground or you die. Which, you know, of course makes zero sense. But I was going to say, I don't really like, you know, side-scrolling shooters where you can't touch the floor or the ceiling. But, you know, depending on sort of the level design or something, it wouldn't really make sense. You know, if like you were in a cave or something. What happened? You know, if you were in a cave or something, but you could like run into the walls and not have it kill you, then that really wouldn't make much sense, would it? So, get away. Well, I think it started us back like at the beginning of the level. So maybe we're not going to see the boss, but it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, the boss, he's not that cool. It just kind of not the kind of boss you'd see every day, I would say. You can see you can hold down the button there and like shoot this kind of super weapon that can kind of come in handy sometimes. All right, now maybe we'll make it to the boss. I think we're almost there. Oh yeah, okay. This is the boss right here. So look at what is that a mole? I feel like that's not right, but it's very mole-like. The boss. I mean, I don't want to say that and then get my butt kicked, but the boss really isn't very hard. Like, it's pretty much what you see is what you get. But okay, so anyway, I mean that's like I said, I don't know how to. Oh, it's still P. All right, so that's how you pause that game. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that because I just thought that was a really cool game. So I don't know if people like that or not, really, but so I'm just gonna check the chat here again. William says it's interesting how Europeans mostly played computers like this back in the day instead of consoles. So that actually, there's a whole story behind that, and that was that the British government, for whatever reason, probably due to lobbying, decided that they needed to educate the populace on computers and try to encourage people to get computers in their homes. And that's why you had all these low-cost computers in Great Britain in the early 80s, like the ZX Spectrum and the Acorn, and like the Amstrad, and so everybody, you know, parents would buy their kids computers because they were told they needed it for their education, and of course the kids were all just buying like games on cassette tapes, and so like that's why they didn't have a video game crash there, is that they weren't dependent on like the Atari 2600, although they did have that there. They were all playing computers instead. is this Insector X or Calibri? Yeah, I mean it's got the same kind of feel, right? Off topic, I was a math teacher in high school that was a UC Davis grad. Well, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, they were everywhere, you know. The 500 wasn't a bad deal. Sold for $699.87. Yeah, and then, I don't know. You know, by the time, like I said, all the good games really started coming out in like 1990, and so I wonder how much the Amiga cost by then. I really don't know. It's funny. It's not that easy to find some of that information online. You know, of course. I mean, could you still buy an Amiga in the U.S. in 1990? I really don't know for sure. It's a mole, but it's benign. That's very funny. I tried to kill the mole, but I didn't do well. Blake says, hey man, huge fan, really love the CGQ Plus flashbacks. Any chance of some of the longer form ones coming before the holidays? Yeah, so I actually, I have recorded the next episode of Flashback. I'm editing it. I don't know what to do with it. It was a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I ended up talking for about 90 minutes. So I'm trying to edit it down. If I can't get it down to less than an hour, I'm probably going to split it up and make it a 2-part episode because that's just too long of an episode, in my opinion. So I'm going to get the next game started loading because this game takes a little bit of a while to load. So, yeah. Okay, so while that's booting up, wasn't the Commodore 500 able to play games on cassette tape? This, not that I know of, you couldn't. There's no obvious cassette port on the back of this, but I mean, I don't think you're able to get enough data onto a cassette tape to play it on the Amiga. So maybe you're thinking of the Commodore 64, because that one would take a tape drive. I think I just have to. Sometimes you have to figure out which button to push. So again, that's like the people who released this game, you know, by cracking it and making it available to download like on BBSs. And they all had to have their own little intro screen. And sometimes you have to figure out which button to push to get past it. So, any good racing games on the Amiga? Yeah, there's actually a lot of... you can imagine motor racing is very popular in the UK. I mean, that's where Formula One was born. So there is no shortage of racing games. I mentioned a little bit earlier the YouTube channel Lemon Tube Amiga, and he actually did a series of videos called the Top 50 racing games on the Amiga. So that gives you an idea of just how many racing games there are. I mean, there's good like F1 style games. There's the Lotus Turbo Challenge games, which we're going to play after this game. And was like all-terrain racing, stunt racer. There's like an IndyCar game. There's just a ton of games. So yeah. Okay. So the game that we're loading up right now is Sensible World of Soccer. And I know some people are probably just thinking like, ugh, a soccer game. We're not going to play it for too terribly long, but this is probably one of the most beloved games on the Amiga, especially if you were like a British kid. And I buy Retro Gamer every month, Retro Gamer magazine, and I mean they're constantly talking about this game. It gets voted as one of the best games on the Amiga in the UK. And it's really an ingenious game in that I gotta switch the disc. See, so now it's asking for disc 2, so I just have to select that on the front of the emulator, floppy emulator, and now it's gonna load disc 2. So yeah. Anyway, you can go read reviews of Sensible Soccer. There was Sensible Soccer that came out in 1992, and then this game, Sensible World of Soccer, is the sequel. That came out in 1994. Taylor says you love the overlay for the video. Thanks, man. Just to once again give credit, this was made for me by someone named Yura, who is a viewer of the show. And Yura also made my other overlay. So it's awesome. I offered to pay, but they wouldn't take my money. So which is too bad because these are really nice overlays, and I actually want to have one more made, but I don't want to push it, but if they would take money, then it would be no problem. But I don't want to take advantage of anybody's generosity. So anyway, okay, the game has loaded. So we're just going to play one game, and these games go very quick. It's like a normal 90-minute match, except that 1 minute is like literally a few seconds in real time. And it's very arcade style game, but it's really ingenious in that this game only uses one button. Whether you're shooting, you're passing, or you're trying to slide tackle somebody, the game just based on just proximity and to other players or what you're doing, it just seems to know what you want. It does a really good job. So we're going to pick friendly, which is sort of like an exhibition match. You can select your pitch type. Usually I just leave it on random, but your choices frozen, muddy, wet, soft, normal, dry, hard, or just random. We'll just leave it on random. Substitutes, I don't even know. I'm not like a soccer expert, but this game is definitely fun. So then next we have to choose teams. This game has some kind of ridiculous number of teams that you can choose. Club teams are what they sound like. Like they're not. There's club teams and national teams, and a national team obviously is what it sounds like, and you can play as the national team of just about any team around the world. But even for club teams, which is what we'll go into, you have every continent on the earth except for Antarctica. So if we go into Europe, then we can select England, and then from there you can go into the Premier League. And all the real teams are there. So, the teams that were in the Premier League in 1994 anyway. And one thing I should say is this game is really, really hard. And so I always pick Manchester United, not because I'm like a fan, but just because they're good. And so I hit the fire button once, and now Manchester United is red. That means it's a computer-controlled player. If I hit it one more time, now it's blue. That means it's the player-controlled team. And then we just pick a team that's not good to play against. So we'll just pick Sheffield Wednesday, and then you just go down to play friendly. And one thing I want you guys to pay attention to is the sound. In fact, I'm going to turn the sound back up just because this doesn't really have music. But the crowd noise sounds just awesome. Here you can pick substitutions or you can pick your strategy. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know what any of that means, so I just hit OK. And so now it's going to go ahead and load up the game for it. Why is it called soccer? Isn't it British? Well, you should look into the history of that. British people, soccer is a British term. They like to say, "Oh, we call it football." Nope, they used to call it soccer. This whole football thing is kind of a recent thing. Was I on BBS's back in the day? Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that later. Have I been keeping an eye on the Mr. Project? Not really too much. I don't know if Todd is still in the chat room. He's someone you could talk to about the Mr. Project. That's something he's paying close attention to. Okay, so now the game's getting started. Everybody comes out here and lines up for fun, and then we get going. So yeah, like I said, it's just the one button, and you can see I forgot which way I'm shooting. Yeah, that was the right way. You're probably going to see me get my butt handed to me. Like I said, this game is really ridiculously difficult. Obviously, if you just get good at it, then no problem. Oh, I thought that ball was out. You don't have to control the goalie at all, thank goodness. That was a stupid pass. There's nobody there to take the pass. You don't even get to select which player you control. The computer just selects it for you. And for the most part, it just does a really good job. Unfortunately, I didn't really shoot that ball very well. You can... Oh, they scored on me already. So you decide... you can set how hard you kick the ball just by how long you hold down the fire button. But that's pretty normal for me to get scored on right away because, like I said, I'm not good at this game, and it's very tough. This is like a game where you really can't hang on to the ball for any length of time because, realistically, as long as you're dribbling the ball, you cannot run as fast as somebody who is chasing you. And so you have to pass a lot. So I was trying to angle it in there, and I didn't hit the joystick at the right angle there. But I don't know. I have the volume turned down so I can barely hear it. So I don't know if you guys can hear the crowd chants and everything, but it just sounds so cool. Like the first time I loaded up this game, like I had no idea it was going to sound like that. I didn't know anything about the game except that people talked about how awesome it was. So, but yeah, so like you can see, for instance, like the clock's already at 33 minutes, so like this half is already most of the way over. So it goes by super quick. You can like do seasons in this game. You can do like manager mode. This game looks very similar to the first Sensible Soccer, but there have been a lot of gameplay tweaks made. But but the game looks pretty much the same. So that's the end of the half already. So see, quick. Chris, pay close attention to the PlayStation. I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but I do love the PlayStation. So gives you some like halftime stats, which we don't really care. So. But I mean, even though I get my butt kicked at this game, like when I first got the Amiga, I probably played this game as much as I played Turrican, just because this game's just a ton of fun. Oh yeah, there you go. I can hear the chanting in the background. It just sounds so cool. Ah. Ooh. Oh. You can see I don't even get very many shots on goal in this game. It's like I said, it's very difficult. This game, there were also like a ton of demo versions of this game. So like demo discs, not to be confused with the demos that we talked about at the beginning of the episode or the beginning of the live stream. There were demo discs for the Amiga, just like when you think of like demo discs for like the PlayStation or the Dreamcast. Uh, you know, uh, this computer had such a strong following in the UK that there were a number of Amiga magazines, like Amiga Power, and those would come with demo discs every month. Oh, I got burned. And there were several like demo versions of Sensible Soccer, and like Sensible Soccer was made by the same company that made Cannon Fodder. So like there's a version of Sensible Soccer where all of the players look like little soldiers, and I guess there were like random like landmines or something on the field. I haven't tried to get it. I don't think I have any demo disc images on the floppy emulator. I don't even know where I would go to find those, but that would sure be cool. Can't even get in there. But like there was another one where it was like I think one. It was like lemons versus oranges or something. That's not really that fun. Oh, corner kick. Oh, I scored on the corner kick. Oh, so then you have an automatic replay. Boom. Dang. So I guess I don't know. I'm just every time I play a sports game on a live stream, I just get destroyed. But it's fun anyway. I don't know where the clock went. I don't know why it's not showing the clock anymore all of a sudden. I don't know if I accidentally pushed a button to shut it off, but there can't be too much more game left. Another corner kick. Thankfully they didn't. Well, okay. There you go. That's the end of the game. So we won't play any more Sensible Soccer. I wanted you guys to check it out. You could. I was gonna say you could check it out in an emulator or something. Amiga emulators are actually kind of a huge pain in the butt. So I'm not trying to discourage anybody from trying it, but it's not easy. So okay, the next game we're gonna check out is Lotus Turbo Challenge. Is that Lotus Turbo Challenge 1 or 2? Hold on, let me back up a little bit. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so we're gonna check out both real quick. So this is Lotus Turbo. It's Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge, which is like the first Lotus Turbo Challenge game. The PlayStation Classic I heard is a minimum effort by Sony. I thought I heard you say you were getting one. Yeah, I pre-ordered the PlayStation Mini. I think it's going to be cool. You canceled your pre-order. Well, if you're not happy with the games that are on it, then I guess you should cancel your pre-order. I think I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe it won't be. Sheffield destroyed Man U. That is very much true. Getting mad at busy signals. Yeah, you try to like dial in both places. Just the busy signal over and over again. Okay, so this game was put out by Gremlin, but was actually developed by a company called Magnetic Fields. I'm going to go ahead and turn the game volume back down just because this one does have music. And I don't want to get drowned out. It does have really good music, though. One thing, I mean, for those of you out there, if you have played Top Gear for the Super Nintendo, just sort of, you'll notice this game is very, very, very similar. And, so here you can select, it's kind of like Outrun, you can select a track. Track 0 is like no music because then you have engine sounds. If you select music, you don't get engine sounds anymore. And that's not really all that fun. So, that one's good. Alright, so we'll do music. Another thing, if you're a Formula 1 fan, you'll notice all the driver names in here. I don't know why, because this game has nothing to do with Formula 1. All the driver names in here are like fake F1 driver names. So like Italy says course record Nigel Mainsail instead of Nigel Mansell. But there's a ton of examples of that. Wrong button. Yeah, sorry, I was pushing the wrong button. That's okay. It lets the field get spread out. This game, it's pretty easy to catch up to people. What's going on? Did I push the wrong? Oh, I think I selected something. Oh, I selected manual transmission. That's why I don't even know how to change. Sorry, guys. I don't know how to change. Oh, there we go. All right, we're good. I just can't downshift. So like I looked it up, and so like I said, this game was published by Gremlin Graphics, but was supposedly developed by Magnetic Fields. But then, like, if you go look up the developer of Top Gear, hey, downshift, buddy. Yeah, it's really sorry. This game is really hard to play with a manual. I wasn't paying attention. That's my bad. Well, we'll get game over here pretty quick, and then well, actually, can I just? Oh, okay. Sorry, we got to restart. If you go look up, it says the developer of Top Gear was Gremlin Graphics. So I don't there's something else going on there that's not, you know, that Wikipedia must have something wrong, I would say. Normal controller, method up faster, slower, gear down a gear. If computer-assisted gears are selected, attempting to change gear will. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. Computerized gears, that's what I forgot. Okay, now we're good. Apologies. Okay, so anyway, yeah. So this, like I said, this game, even with the split screen, but the graphics look the same. The music is different. Top Gear has awesome music though, and I don't know how well it comes across on the live stream, but this game runs incredibly smoothly. I mean, I don't know how, you know, I'm sure it's 50 frames per second because it's PAL, but it just seems so smooth when you're playing it, and the same is true of Lotus Turbo Challenge 2, which we're also just going to check out briefly. I just want you guys to see that one because that one's not split screen. I assume this game is split screen so that you can play it 2-player, which was the reason that Top Gear was split screen. The AI in this game is extremely stupid. So, and it took me a while to figure that out, but I always thought that the AI was like actively trying to get in my way and block me. But if you actually sit back and watch them, all the other cars just weave back and forth across the track. And so you feel like they're trying to get in front of you, because at least half the time they are, because they just happen to be moving in the same direction that you're already in. So you can see we're already in first place. Like, we're playing this game in easy mode, so I'm not trying to claim that I'm good at it. Much the opposite, really. But I kept it in easy mode just so I look as stupid as possible. Even though we're in first place, now we have to deal with these back marker cars. The biggest way you can kind of screw yourself in this game, same with Top Gear, is by crashing into the cars in front of you, because it really slows you down a lot. Although one thing I noticed is that this game does not seem to have rubber band AI like a game like F-Zero. Like, when you can pull out a lead and you can be like way in the lead. Like, at this point, I could probably crash a couple of times and be safe. And there we go. So maybe we'll just do one more race, and then I want to go ahead and load up the second Lotus game just so you can see the difference. Because we still have 2 more games to go after that. And the last game we're going to play, Cannon Fodder, we're probably going to kind of play for a while, much like we did with Turrican. So that's the only problem with the beginning of the level, is when all the cars are so bunched up. I mean, your car is really just way faster than the other cars, which, I mean, was pretty common with racing games back then. But it makes it very hard to get through the pack. And so if you kind of hang back a little bit and just sort of let the field spread out, then it's a lot easier to start passing people. I don't know if you guys can hear, like, even though there's no engine noise, because we have music instead, you can still occasionally hear your tires screeching if you take a tight turn a little bit too fast. Like right there, you can hear it. So that's kind of cool. Just since you don't get the engine noise. I guess the sound chip in the Amiga only has so many channels. You see we're already in first place now. You can pit in this game, probably because we're playing it in easy mode, is why we don't have to, is maybe either the races are a little bit shorter or your fuel consumption just isn't as high. But usually with this game, like if you play it in hard mode, you actually do have to pit to refuel. I think one more lap after this one. Yeah, so final lap. And then, like I said, we'll boot up. Lotus 2. So this game, I'm trying to remember if this game came out on the Genesis. Definitely the next one did. Lotus Turbo Challenge 2. There we go. Alright, we still came in first, even though I crashed into that guy's butt twice. Okay, so that's enough of that. So I have to I don't want to interrupt it while the disc is loading, but as soon as that's done... okay, well, it's done. Okay, so I'm going to reset, and then Lotus 2 is going to load up real quick. Josh, you said you'd pay $200 for more games you want to play. Well, no, don't apologize for going off topic. I mean, that's cool that you guys are having conversations in the chat. Like, it's not all about me. Yeah, $200 would be a lot to pay for the PlayStation Mini. But I'm kind of hoping that maybe there'll be downloadable games for it, but that's the same thing people have said about the Nintendo consoles, and it hasn't happened. So I haven't looked into it. Maybe they've already announced that's not going to happen. I don't remember. The bottom half of the screen seems underutilized for sure, and you're going to see that in this game. It isn't. The disc is still loading. That's why it just says Lotus Turbo Challenge 2. So this game is full screen. So that's kind of why, main reason that I even wanted to show it. So I wonder why the split screen to save computing power. I think you can play the game split screen 2-player. I'm not positive, but I think that was the point with Top Gear. So if that's not the point with this one, that would be pretty weak. The disk drive is still chugging away, so I know this is less than exciting. But like I said, I warned you guys about the loading times with the Amiga. So, but after this, like I said, two more games after these. Although the next game we're just going to check out shortly. Okay, here we go. Finally, Lotus Turbo Challenge 2. Another cracked screen. Press fire. There we go. Cool music again. Waiting for the setup screen. Okay, here we go. So here's where you set up your game. You don't have to. You can put in your name. You can put in CGQ. Here you set your gears. You see now it's set to manual, so we changed it over to automatic. For accelerate, you can push forward to accelerate, or have it do the fire button, which I'm going to do the fire button. Just as an interesting, like a point of interest, you see that the little digitized joystick on there is a Competition Pro joystick, which I talked about a little bit in yesterday's video. Here, you can do 1-player, 2-player. This one I thought was kind of interesting. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if you could link two Amigas together and play this game that way. Like, that would be really cool. And then you just go here to start the game, so which is what we're going to do. Sorry, we have to wait for the game to load. So, oh, here we go. Marks. Set. Go. See, it's got speech. You see the graphics are a little bit nicer. I mean, I think the graphics of the first game were good, but now you've got the full screen, so you can show a little bit more of the background. You can see there's tons of trees and whatnot flying by, which also looks really cool. The backdrop with the mountains and the clouds also looks neat. Just a really good looking game, in my opinion. And like I said, you can, if you want to, I mean, one thing I was going to talk about in the last video, and I didn't kind of really get around to it because I didn't want that video to be too long. There were a ton of Amiga games that were ported to the Genesis. Not exclusively, but largely by Electronic Arts, which I think Electronic Arts is who ported this game over. And a lot of that is just because they do have the same processor, and so I'm sure that makes things a lot easier. But my point was just that you can load up the same game on the two systems, and that way you can really see how much extra power the Amiga has. Like, you can check this game out on the Genesis, and it's okay, but it looks and sounds way better on the Amiga. But of course, the Amiga also costs, at least, again, I don't know how much an Amiga cost by the time the early 90s came around, but I mean, how cheap could it have possibly gotten? I'm sure it was still quite a bit more expensive than a Genesis or Mega Drive. Whoops. So now you can see we have a timer in the upper right-hand corner, which we did not have in the first game. So you can get game overed, and then also it's kind of counterintuitive. If you run over those logs, instead of crashing, you jump. And so, like that last one I missed, but you can use that to jump over some of these little areas where there's water coming across the track. But so because of the timer, in some ways, this game is more reminiscent of like Outrun, because now you're not racing against other cars. And I don't know, maybe I missed it, and there's a different game mode where you can still race against other cars, but primarily, well, I mean, at least in the mode that we're playing in now, you're just racing against the clock to not run out of time, which I feel like we might end up running out of time on this lap because we barely made it on the last lap. And then I'll just tell people now. So the next game we're going to play after this is Pinball Dreams. I wasn't originally going to include Pinball Dreams in the stream tonight, even though, I mean, it's certainly an iconic Amiga game, but I just kind of wanted to try to limit it to like 5 games, because the version of Apidia that I had on the little USB stick down here, oh, we made it, wouldn't load, and so I kind of put Pinball Dreams on the list as a substitute for Apidia, but then I kind of decided I didn't want to just like throw up the white flag, because I really wanted to show you guys Apidia. And so I found a working image, but I figure we might as well. Pinball Dreams will just be another quick one. Like, we'll just play like one game on one table. But I kind of wanted you to see how similar Pinball Dreams is to Epic Pinball on the DOS PC, even though, as far as I know, the games don't have anything to do with each other. So now I think we're probably not going to make it to the checkpoint. Unless it's like literally right here. And whoa, we made it. Wow. So that's the end of the track. So, I mean, that's enough of that game. I just wanted you guys to check it out real quick. We got a lot to do here. So I'm going to just wait and let the disk finish accessing, which actually I think it just did. So there it is. So now we're going to load up the next game, and I'm going to check out the chat. Yeah, no more music. That's true. This game didn't have music. That garbage on the screen was normal, don't worry. So this is like, this is the team that cracked the game. And then what they would also often do is they would put in these little cheats. So you can hit skip game intro, unlimited tilts, and starting balls. And, you know, we don't really want to cheat. And I do want to see the intro, actually, because I'm not sure I've ever seen it. And then down there is a phone number for a BBS that you could call, probably their BBS, and maybe you could download games like this. And then there's a bunch of more phone numbers for BBSs. Some of them appear to be here in the US, and others are elsewhere around the world. I think I have to just wait a minute before... Oh, no, there we go. Okay. Doesn't seem as smooth. It might be a little bit less smooth. Lotus was still pretty smooth, though. Ermi says, Chris, what's your dream car? My current dream car is probably Porsche GT3 Touring. But that's a pretty expensive car, and I don't think I'll ever have the kind of money to get that car. My attainable dream car is a Porsche Cayman GTS. Love to see some Amiga pinball. Well, here it is. There's a mini Commodore console that you saw on Metal G. Yeah, a bunch of people were showing off that mini Commodore. I have a Commodore, so of course I don't have. There's like a flash cart you can get for the Commodore 64 that I need to pick up. The keyboard doesn't work on it. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty lame. Okay. Anyway. So one thing that's going to be a little bit awkward about playing this game is that I have to use the keyboard. Alright, got disc 2 inserted. I'll just lean over. I don't want to move the chair. So we have to pick a table. Let's just go with ignition. Ryan says that's his car. No, I don't have a GTS. That's what I want is a GTS. What I have is just an old. You have a Cayman already, yeah, but I have an 11-year-old base Cayman. I want a Cayman GTS. Look it up. Okay, so anyway, we have to put in what we type F1 to okay, and then we use the down. I'm just going to scoot over in my chair a little bit. So we down arrow to hold the plunger back, and then we just use the shift keys, which is pretty common with PC pinball games. And I was going to talk about this game in relation to Epic Pinball a little bit. So when I had my DOS computer, back in the early 90s, when Epic Pinball came out, which I want to say was in like 93, I got it. I got a free copy of it. And this game is extremely similar, and in fact, some of the sound effects in this game are the same sound effects in Epic Pinball, but the same people didn't make the game, and this game came out earlier. I think this game came out in like 91 or 92. I have it written down here, but I don't want to. If I look away, I'm going to lose another ball. And the only thing I can think is, a lot of the sound effects used in Epic Pinball were like samples, and I think they just sampled some of the sounds out of this game. So I don't know if they had permission to do that as like an homage, or if they just stole some of the sound effects. But I mean, you can see the physics really aren't too bad. All four tables are of course fictitious tables. That was pretty common with computer pinball games back then. Although there was on the Nintendo, there was Pinbot, and I'm thinking there was another one on the Nintendo. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. That was also like a 8-bit recreation of a real pinball game. So, so there were 3 of these games on the Amiga. This is the first one, Pinball Dreams. There was also, I have written down, there was Pinball Fantasies and Pinball Illusions, and this game came out in '92. Do you collect the Lego Speed Champions? I mean, I don't collect them, but I have a bunch of them. I mean, I guess I collect them. I don't really see it that way. But your dad's been driving his 85 911 Carrera for 32 years. Yeah, man. The thing, I don't know. I don't want to start talking about Porsches too much, but the thing with a Porsche is they are some of the most reliable cars you can buy. And, my car really wasn't that expensive. When I bought it, it was 10 years old. It had all the service records. It was well taken care of, and it was pretty low mileage. And yes, the cost of ownership of that car is a little bit higher than if you have, like an economy car. But at the same time, if you take care of that car, it's going to take care of you. And I expect to be driving my car for like another 10 years. Unless I upgrade to a GTS, but I'm very happy with my car, so I'm not in any hurry to get anything different. So the fact that you're, especially you said your dad's got an 85, so I mean that was still when they were air cooled. So we got game over, so let's check out. We can check out another table real quick because this is pretty fun. Hondas and Toyotas that are maintained don't break down. Absolutely correct. We have a Toyota pickup truck that we've had for at least 10 years and have yet to have a single major problem with it. The new Cayman GTS MSRP is $80K. Yeah, I'm not saying $80K is cheap for a car. It's expensive, but that's the top of the line Cayman, and it's an amazing sports car. So, like I said, I'm not in a position to buy that now, but maybe when I graduate from grad school, and get a better job, maybe I will be able to. And if not, no big deal. Chris, did you just tweet? I hope not. If I just tweeted, somebody hacked into my Twitter account, because I did not. Now you're making me look to make sure that someone's not tweeting from I'm a little bit paranoid because after I did last week's live stream, in the middle of the night somebody tried to hack into my YouTube account and they actually had my password somehow, and so I had to reset my password. Morpheus says, could you play the Amiga game Rough and Tumble? Where's the pen? Let me write it down. Maybe we'll check it out. We'll check it out at the end, and if not, we are going to do an Amiga stream again, and I would welcome requests for games that we could play. Well, it said, I don't put enough titles in caps, so I tweeted that a few hours ago. Could you do a Splatterhouse 2 playthrough? Not on the Amiga, I don't think. Hey, I'm still good on the water. Oh, hold on. Wait, you got more? Alright, just a second. Oh, cool, here. Thank you very much. I didn't think you'd remember. Okay, now we got new water, so we're all good to go. Turn on two-factor... No, I have two-factor authentication. That's why they weren't actually able to get into my YouTube account. But the fact that they had my password really freaked me out. So now it's got some, like, million-mile-long password. Anyway, how do I get out of here? Really quit? Yes. Hopefully it's going to let us go back and play a different table. None of these tables are, like, complicated. You know, I mean, this is old stuff. Nightmare was kind of a cool one. You know, it's sort of a Halloween spooky theme table. So we'll just do that one, and then we'll move on to Cannon Fodder, which I can't wait to play some Cannon Fodder. Yeah, that was Miss CGQ 2018 that brought me a fresh glass of water, because I was telling her that I always get a little bit dehydrated whenever I stream because I'm talking so much that, like, you know, I'm just like off gassing water, and so like I can't drink enough. Oh, David, yeah. So you said, yeah. Do you mean down the line? Yeah, no, I could totally do a Splatterhouse 2 playthrough. I assume you're talking about on the Genesis. No, that would totally be fun. Just remind me again. Well, I'll write it down, but you should remind me again later. I don't. Did that even come out for any other home systems besides the Genesis? All right, Splatterhouse 2. It's written down. Somebody asked, standard or automatic transmission? Always manual transmission. We have 3 cars, all manual transmissions. Yeah, like you have to ask unless it is a modern dual clutch. Yeah, I've never driven a car with the dual clutch, you know, with the paddle shifters. Maybe it's cool. You know, I know a lot of the Porsches now come with that. The GTS, you can still get the full manual. Maybe it's cool. I like having a clutch pedal, and I want to shift. To me, that's part of driving. So I don't want to have paddle shifters. The only thing I have paddle shifters on are on my Logitech wheel when I'm playing an F1 game. Okay, so I forgot the name of this table. Was it Graveyard? I don't feel like that was the name. So we're just going to play one game of this one, and then we're going to move on to Cannon Fodder. Yeah, David says, yeah, Sega. Yeah, no problem, dude. We'll play... oh, shit, I forgot. Shift keys. Yeah, no, we'll play... I actually thought about, when we did the Halloween stream, I thought about playing a Splatterhouse game. But I just felt like I had been streaming too much Genesis. And that was really the main reason that we put in... that I hooked up the Nintendo that night, was I didn't want to stream Genesis again. And I figured I had really never spent much time with Castlevania. And so, you know, at least for me, like a big part of why I like doing these live streams is it really gives me an excuse And really, I'd say the same thing about the channel as a whole. Is well, both channels, I guess. Well, mostly the other channel, but it gives me a reason to play games that I otherwise might not play. Like especially if you look at like a lot of the launch games for systems, they're really not very good. Like if you look at, say, the launch of the PlayStation, or even to a certain extent, like the Saturn launch. I never would have played Clockwork Knight if it wasn't for doing the Saturn launch episode. And as far as the PlayStation launch goes, I wouldn't have played most of those games. And so at least that way you get to check them out, and I didn't have to spend that much time, some of those games. I played them for, a few hours just to get an impression and record some gameplay footage, and like that's enough. But that way I got to sort of experience it, and if you're going to try to be some kind of gaming historian, then you need to play a lot of games. Like it's no different than if you were going to be a movie reviewer. You need to watch a lot of movies, and so you can sort of develop a taste. Anyway, otherwise, I was thinking of doing a playthrough of either Splatterhouse 2 or Splatterhouse 3 on the Genesis. But obviously, we don't have to wait until it's actually Halloween to do a Splatterhouse playthrough. Because that's another example, actually. I haven't really played the Splatterhouse games all that much. I've played all of them, of course, but I think I've played the first few levels probably of Splatterhouse 1, and I don't think I've gotten very far at all in Splatterhouse 2. Splatterhouse 3 I've played a little bit more. That's a really cool game, but it's not like I've beaten it or come even close. So that would definitely be fun to check out. So once again, you can look at this and you can see the game's got nice graphics. You can compare it to like a pinball game on the Genesis. I can't even think of very many pinball games. The only two pinball games off the top of my head I can think of on the Genesis are Sonic Spinball, which kind of doesn't count, and Crew Ball, which I actually like Crew Ball personally. I think those little 16-bit versions of Motley Crue songs are pretty cool. But once again, this game looks better than something you'd get on the Genesis. And that's certainly not a knock on the Genesis, because the Genesis is one of my all-time favorite systems. But I guess I'm just reinforcing the point that, in a lot of ways, the Amiga is like a 16-bit system on steroids. Unfortunately, I really have no idea how much an Amiga goes for. Of course, I was very lucky that Todd was generous and just gave this one to me. In fact, he even made a video on his channel. He had to go drive pretty far away, and it was like a Craigslist pickup. And I don't remember if he bought this system because it came with some accessories that he wanted, or I can't imagine he drove all the way over there just to get it for me. But that was pretty cool of him. But like I said, I don't know how much these sell for, or they're not that easy to come by in the U.S. So, okay, so that's the end of that. So now we're going to get to the game that I'm really excited to show you guys if you've never seen it before, and that is Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder, unfortunately, does take a few minutes to load. So I tried tonight. I've got the chat room and whatnot on my iPad. So. And here, once again, you can see that... Uh-oh, what happened? We got a little video problem here. Let me see... hang tight for a second. Let me see if power cycling the Amiga gets rid of that, but I don't think it's going to. Oh, maybe it will. Oh, maybe we got lucky. I don't know what happened right there, but what's going on? This definitely worked earlier, but let's give it a chance. All I see is these green stripes. That's not good, but let's see what happens. All right, I think we're all right. Yeah, we're okay. I don't know why. I don't know if it was some weird video mode that the capture device doesn't like. But thank goodness we're okay. No such thing as too much Genesis. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Your ruiner, your picture is about that big on my iPad, so I can't tell what kind of car you have. But I'm a fan of all cars, so I'm no car snob. So I mean, I'm only saying that because you said it's no Porsche, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, whatever it is, I can tell it looks cool. I just, like I said, the picture's just too small, so I can't see. If you have a manual transmission, you can't eat Taco Bell and drive. That is very true. You can't really do anything and drive. Ermi says, "What kind of job do you do? Are you in IT?" No, I'm a scientist. I told you guys it's going to take a while to load. It's kind of annoying. Um, Anyone remember Hard Driving Arcade where it had a manual with a clutch? That I don't remember. I remember Hard Driving in the arcade. I don't remember it having a clutch, but that's pretty cool. The game is now loading. I think I have to adjust the screen again for this one. But we're still going to have to put in disc 2 at some point. But you get a little intro screen here. So, as I said, this is a Sensible Software game again, just like Sensible Soccer. It's got kind of a cool intro. I don't want to make you guys watch it, but basically these are the guys that made the game, and then some of the characters in the game are named after the guys, or you can't really call them characters, and I'll show you why in a minute. Chris, John Linneman from Digital Foundry tweeted his focus on a comment. You said you get those too. Why focus on the minority when the majority appreciate your hard work? Honestly, I think it's just human nature. 99 people can say something nice to you, and one person can say something not nice. And human nature is that's the one that sticks out to you. And I mean, I know that sounds lame, but I think it's true of most people. People complain, and I complain too, that there's so much negativity on YouTube, when really the reality is that there is way more positivity on YouTube than negativity, but there's a lot more negativity on YouTube or on the internet in general than I guess there is in real life. But you would think that people wouldn't care because, like I said, I mean, I know that the vast majority of people love the show who watch it, and so like you agree that I shouldn't care. Ryan says, would you be interested in a Motorcycle Hall of Fame postcard? Definitely. That sounds awesome. So see, we had to sit through the intro just to stick in disc 2. But it's going to be worth it. This game is so good. What else? Oh, he says it's a 2012 WRX hat. Dude, those WRXs are cool cars, man. I would absolutely take one of those cars. Don't care about load times. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Okay. What a stupid channel. Yeah, you're joking. People say that kind of stuff, Anyway, okay. So now the game is loaded. So I'm going to quickly... Where did this tape come from? I'm going to quickly explain sort of the premise with this game. And then we're going to start playing. So, again, this is Cannon Fodder by Sensible Software. This is like the main, I don't know if you call it the main screen or whatever, that you keep coming back to after each mission. It's kind of like Close Combat, if you ever played that on the computer, or like Syndicate. It's this little point-and-click game where you have like a little squad of guys and you kill people. I guess I'll talk... The game was kind of controversial when it came out. I'll talk about that a little bit while we're playing it. We might as well just get started. So what you see here, you have this road coming down, and those are like your recruits. So you've got the two guys in your squad over on the left. You have Jules and Jops, which, like I said, those were the name of two of the programmers, Jules and Jops. And then if those guys get killed, these are the recruits that will replace them. So this game just uses the mouse, so that's why I'm just putting the controller off to the side. And we just have to click anywhere, and the first level will load. As you might expect, the first couple or few levels of the game just sort of take the place of a tutorial in that, it's just so that you can kind of get your feet wet and see how the game works. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit more. Get it centered. It's like every Amiga game, the graphics are just different enough that, that they're a little bit this way, they're a little bit that way, or you have to resize. I'm just thankful that, that I've got it going through a OSSC upscaler. I'm just thankful that it's happy. So now we just have to wait. It's loading the... Oh, there we go. Okay, so now it says 13 recruits remaining. Go for it. So now we start the first level here. Let me just see. Let me just resize it real quick because we can make it bigger than that. There you go. That looks pretty good. Okay, so you see we've got like our two little guys down here, and as I move my cursor around, they move which way they're looking. And if you press the left mouse button, it makes them just go wherever you said, and then the right mouse button shoots. So we just killed both of those guys. And I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit just because this game doesn't have music during the levels. So the objective in this first stage or mission was just to kill all enemy. And so that's what we're going to do. All three guys are now dead. Mission complete. And so the whole point of that was just so that you could see how the game works. Oh, Josh is leaving. See you later, man. It's 11:30. Yeah, well, yeah, you're on the East Coast then, yeah. Yes, no, Subaru makes great cars. Yeah, okay. Oh, and then you get this at the end of every level. So, heroes in victory. So, because, they made it back alive. So, your dudes get a promotion after every mission if they survive. And you'll see what happens to the guys that don't survive. So, now the second mission's going to start. And now you have this whole new wave of recruits. So, I just wanted to talk real quick about the whole controversy. Like, when this game came out, a lot of people in the UK saw it as... sort of making light of war. Like, this game has a lot of dark comedy in it. The theme song to the game that I guess I talked over during the intro was, talking about, war has never been so much fun. And I think a lot of people really miss the point with this game, which is that it's really like a dark humor, and it's sort of it's very satirical, but really I think the message of this game is that it's very anti-war. I'm not trying to get political on the channel. I'm just saying that's what I get out of the game. Is because you see, we've already got a whole bunch of new recruits came down, and that will keep happening so that you have so many extra recruits that no matter how bad you are at this game and how many of your guys you get killed, there's always going to be a ton more. And you see up at the top you have home and away. That's because we've killed 3 guys and we have not lost any guys. And then even shows you how many guys that you've killed. But so yeah, I just want to make that point that, like I said, I find this game to have a very anti-war message. But a lot of older sort of people with the stick up their butt back when this game came out, I think it kind of flew over their head, and they thought that it was just glorifying war. Or just having a disrespectful attitude towards it, when I think it was the exact opposite. This game looks like a Sega CD game. So this game did not come out on the Sega CD, but it came out on the Mega Drive, not the Genesis, but the Mega Drive, the Super Nintendo, where it was still pretty bloody. The 3DO, the Atari Jaguar, the DOS PC, that might be it. This is, in my opinion, by far the best version of the game, though. But, if you don't have an Amiga and you want to check this game out, those are all good versions of the game. In fact, when I was talking a little bit about sound earlier, I will say that the sound of the guns in the Mega Drive version is actually better than it is in this version, in my opinion. So just once again, now we're still walking around just finding guys to kill. I think the point of this level was just now it's not just on a single screen anymore. So now you have to walk around and find the other guys. If you click over here, hold on, let me get rid of these guys real fast. If you click over here, it brings up a map of the whole level, so you can kind of look around a little bit. I don't know if you can hear like the guys kind of scream when you shoot them. Sometimes you shoot the enemy guys and they don't actually die. They just sit there and scream and bleed, which, again, I think it was just sort of maybe an attempt at dark humor. I don't know. I guess I don't want to read too much into it. It's just a video game, but the game, of course, it's going to get more complicated as it goes along. It's also not going to always take place in the same kind of terrain. Like right now, we're in a jungle, but you go to something more like a European forest. You go to Antarctica. Actually, I think in the next, maybe not the very next mission, but after you leave the jungle, you end up going to Antarctica. Hold on, I gotta go up this way. You can split your squad up. Sometimes that probably becomes more of something you have to do. Because you can click up here and you can change things. You can pick up grenades later, which you'll see we'll have to do. I think that's in the next the next mission. So this is still the same mission. It's just phase 1 and phase 2. So that's why we don't go back to the home screen. So now we have to destroy the enemy buildings, which you can't destroy enemy buildings with guns. So we have to go pick up some grenades, and you'll see. But like I said, you can see where it's reminiscent of Syndicate. But Syndicate came out in the summer of '93, and this game came out in like maybe around Christmas of '93. So I mean, the two games, like this game was of course already in development when Syndicate came out. So it's not like one game stole the idea from another or something. I feel like I had something else I was going to say about the game, and I can't remember what. Oh, that's a dead body. So I mean, I'm kind of plowing through here, but these early levels are pretty easy. But you definitely start losing guys as the game gets a little bit more difficult. Or I mean, you can just, you have to be within firing range of the enemy guys in order to kill them, and then they're in firing range of you, and so you end up losing guys where there was really nothing you can do about it. In fact, we'll see if I can make it through this level without losing any of my guys. Because more guys are going to keep coming out of this house. But hopefully we can... oh, there you go. Never mind. There were grenades there that you can pick up and then blow up the house manually. But I just accidentally shot the crate of grenades. And so then that got rid of it. So now we kill that guy, and that should be the end of the mission. So we didn't lose any guys, so that's cool. So promotions for everybody. And then we'll go into the next mission. So I'll check the chat here real quick. Watch out for those tigers. Nice to see Antarctica get some recognition after they were passed over by soccer. Yeah, that's true. I think the next mission is probably Antarctica. Ice-T would have killed to play this game back in the day. Yeah, I would have enjoyed this game back in the day, but I got Syndicate like right when it came out. Again, it was just, I had a copy, not an actual retail release. And I mean, I played the crap out of that game. So, see, now here comes a bunch of more recruits over the hill. And even though we haven't lost anybody yet. So, now the score is already up to 47-0. And now our squad has 4 guys on it because RJ just came through the door. So now we're going to go ahead and click the button and load up the next mission. By the way, while it's loading, I don't know how my voice sounds tonight. I'm using a different microphone. You notice I don't have a lapel microphone on, but I'm also not using the microphone that's built in to the webcam. I'm using this little miniature shotgun mic that I bought a while ago to use on my camera and then just never used it for anything. And it's a cheap, pretty cheap. It's a Rode, but it's a very cheap Rode microphone. And I have it set up on a little tripod right here. but I forgot how much it cost. It was like $50. It was pretty cheap. But this way I kind of have a use for it, because being a shotgun microphone, it should only be sensitive in the front, so that you don't hear the game audio. I don't know if you can hear the furnace is like right behind this door, so when it comes out, or when it comes on rather, there's really not much I can do about it. Have you ever played General Chaos for the Genesis? No, I have not. But I would like to check it out. Oops. Ooh, that was a close one. Yeah. Oh, hey, Christian. What's up, dude? Stream is great. Enjoyed the video. Yeah, it's funny. That video I did in the car didn't get too many views, which, I mean, I don't really care that much. But I just didn't feel like that was a topic that needed a full episode. I was surprised at the number of people that didn't like the fact that I was recording while driving because they were afraid I was going to crash or something. I don't know. Somebody can explain to me the difference. I don't know how that's any different at all from having a conversation with someone in the passenger seat, or, you know, talking on your speakerphone. But okay, so now we got to get down here. We got to take these grenades. All right, so now we got some grenades. I'm gonna go around and try to get the other ones here too, and then we're gonna blow up. Oh boy, we just lost most of our guys. So I didn't manage to grab the grenades. We just lost 3 of our guys, so that's not good. But we can still get through this level, I think, if we don't lose anybody else. But that was a real bloodbath right there. So now that we have the grenades, ooh, he got killed. Ouch. So now I have to try again. So we lost all 4 of our guys. Dang it. So now let's just try again, though. No big deal. Let's just get 4 more recruits out of the line and keep going. Thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate that. I will try to do so. Create consistently great content. How about we just say it's consistently good? I think great is overstating things. But thank you very much for the contribution. I really do appreciate it. The mic sounds better than last week. Well, that's cool. I'll keep using it then. I wasn't using it for anything else. Oh, Michael says, did you ever get more chickens? Yes. Yes, I did. We got 2 little teenage chickens, and our chicken's having a great time with them. She gets to be like a mom, and she follows them all over the place, and kind of keeps an eye. It's funny, you watch her and she kind of like just keeps an eye out, like while they're eating, she just kind of stands there like she's guarding them to make sure that, you know, no predators come. She always already did that. Like, I'd never had a chicken before that was that sort of alert to possible threats, you know. Like, we get hawks in the neighborhood, you know, like you can go look up in a tree sometimes and you'll see like a red-tailed hawk or something, and whenever, like, she just had like an eagle eye for them, and she would just stand there. Like, sometimes you'd go outside and you'd think that like what's wrong with the chicken, because like she's not moving, and you could look at her and she was kind of like making this little growling noise, and you'd see that she was staring at something, and if you just followed her line of sight, you would see that there was like a hawk up in a tree. And so, you know, she has that same level of awareness now with the little chickens that she takes care of. You know, she makes sure that nobody messes with them. You see, so now we're just tossing grenades at these little shacks to get rid of them. But we got to be careful because we got these little dudes everywhere. Oh, we lost somebody. I didn't see when that happened. One thing that is kind of stupid that you have to be careful with is that when you blow up one of these shacks, the roof flies off, and it can actually land on you. And I don't know what you would really do about it if it happened. Like, I don't think you can move that fast. That seems kind of cheap, but whatever. Ooh, see, that was close. Now we can go over here and grab some extra grenades, and then I think we just have to go down here, and we just have to kill this guy. I don't think there's any more shacks. Yep, that was it. Okay, end of the mission. Yeah, the audio in the car was a bit rough. I agree. If I want to keep making videos in the car, I have to use a lavalier mic or something. Like, once I got on the freeway, it was definitely too loud. Okay, so for the first time now you can see when you lose guys, you get these remembrance poppies, which that really angered the British Royal Legion, that they were using the poppy symbol. And you can see, like I said, we lost a lot of guys there. So it shows you, lost in service, and then you can just skip that part and go back to the main screen. But then you're going to see over on the left, heroes. Those are the guys that have been killed in action, and then how many people, how many enemies they killed. And then now you notice you have gravestones on the hill. And as you get farther and farther into this game, like you can look up images of it online or something if you want, but this hill can be just totally covered in white crosses. Again, like I said, in my opinion, this game definitely has an anti-war tone to it. But anyway, yeah, Colin. Yeah, this does not compute. That's a really good show, by the way. I like that. I like Colin a lot. I don't know Colin, but I like his show quite a bit. Yeah, he records in the car a lot. I think he has better audio there. I need to work on that if I'm going to keep doing that. It's just like, if I have something I want to talk about that's shorter, like I said, I got 15 or 20 minutes to bang it out. So, and plus, I don't know, I just thought it was fun. So, and yeah, definitely not good for chickens to be by themselves. So I'm really happy that she's got kids now. Yeah, I'll definitely do a live stream of Syndicate at some point. It's just, I have to, I have a different capture card I need to stick in the computer that is better for capturing VGA. I'm not sure that this external one's going to work. And then I just need to bring my DOS PC down here. Because I need to start capturing VGA footage for flashback episodes as well. So, Creative, it says, as soon as the stream gets uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to watch that intro again. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And like I said, they're trying to show you like what the hardware could do, So, I mean, there's a ton of demos on this floppy emulator that I think Todd's a pretty big fan of demos. And so there's a huge collection of them on there. He was the one that suggested, I asked him, like, if I'm going to show a demo, which one do you think I should show? And he said state of the art, because he thinks that's like, one of the best ones, which I would agree. So, and then I saw that Christian asked about the podcast. I just have to do it, man. I re-downloaded all the videos, and I just need to strip the audio out and upload it. I'm just gonna upload them onto my website, and then sign up for iTunes or whatever to have the podcast be on like iTunes and probably the Google Play Store, or if people want to, people can just directly download it off of my website if they just want to load it onto a MP3 player or something. I think that would be better, because I know, like, for some people, hour-long episodes are just too long, and I totally get that. Like, there's not too many. Oh no! Oh, I was so close. There's not too many YouTube shows where I would really be willing to watch if it was an hour long. Probably Bithead 1000 is one of the few exceptions to that. Like, I don't know if any of you subscribe to Kim Justice, but her videos are getting longer and longer. She just uploaded a video that was like 2.5 hours long. Which, I mean, that's how long some movies are. I mean, I don't know. There's different schools of thought, like when I was hanging out with Johnny Millennium, like he was saying he doesn't like to have his videos be longer than 10 minutes. But, I think that the style of content he makes, he can make a 10-minute video, but like I mentioned earlier, for those who missed it, I just recorded, yesterday I recorded the next episode of Flashback, which, like I said, the raw footage is 90 minutes long, which I'll edit down. But, I mean, I talked about the mail for 20 minutes, and I managed to edit that down to like 12 or 13. But I talk a lot, and especially with the mail. Like it's one of the more exciting. I get really excited now when I get cool pieces of mail, just because it's like now I can't wait to make the next episode of Flashback, just so I can show some of that stuff to you guys. And it's funny that I recorded that episode yesterday, because then today I went to the post office, not really expecting to get anything for some reason, and I had two postcards, but I also had two packages in there that I of course was not expecting, that are just, I cannot wait to show them to you guys. They're awesome. And I also got, separate from those two packages, I got, I ordered, for anybody that saw on Twitter, I ordered that SNK 40th anniversary collection. And it's funny, I just ordered it because I'm like, well, I want to support Frank, Cifaldi. And it looks like a cool little package. And, someday I'll get a Switch. But I kind of felt like I was not really in any hurry. And as soon as I opened the package and saw it, I'm like, man, I want to go hop in my car and buy a Switch like right now. But I'm gonna wait. I'll at least wait until the next YouTube paycheck comes in. $300. $300 is $300, and I don't. I'm not rich, and for stuff like that, I prefer to have my AdSense money paid for. All right, so you got a contribution here from Hink Hall. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. You convinced me to try out TNC Surf Designs on the NES, and now I'm hooked on the skateboarding section. So I sent you. Oh, that was you. Yeah. Well, you're the guy I was just talking about. I got your packages today. Please, if you could just email me your address, I'd at least like to send you a postcard and some stickers, dude. Like, I don't want to spoil it for everybody else, but you really made my day, with what you sent me today. I was amazed. I don't like using that word too much, but I was really amazed, by what you sent me, and I really cannot wait to show it to people. Thank you also for the contribution, but thank you so much more. I showed my wife; she loved them too, both of them. And I got to find a place somewhere around here to hang that stuff up. So yeah, but I don't know what else to say about that. Like I don't know your name. I don't know where you're from, so I don't know how to thank you on the show. But please give me a way to thank you on the show, and also give me a way to send you. Like I said, I'd love to. I don't have something else to give. Like I'd love to at least send you a postcard, maybe send you some stickers or something, as just a small way to show my appreciation. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to send the high-res files, I mean that'd be cool. I mean, I wouldn't do anything with them aside from just using them on my channel or something. So it's not like it's not like I would sell prints of it or something, But yeah, I would love that if you wouldn't mind sending it to me. I would definitely use the artwork that you sent me. Again, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil it. But it was really, really awesome, dude. 90 minutes is fine with you. No, I understand that. It'd probably be all right with me too. But I just, I understand that not everybody has the time to sit down and watch a YouTube video for 90 minutes. I do. I'll make the time. But, some people have kids and 90 minutes is kind of a big ask. So if nothing else, I could break it into 2 episodes. Or like I said, I ramble on a lot when I make those flashback episodes. And I kind of know it, but I'm like, I'd prefer to talk too much and then cut it down later, rather than trying to worry about hitting some kind of like time target while I'm recording it. You underestimate the listening power of your audience. No, I mean, I know everybody likes the show. I just, I try to at least make it kind of streamlined. Like you should watch a show that's like 45 minutes or an hour long, and when it's over, you should be like, wow, a whole hour went by and it didn't even feel like it, rather than watching a show that's that long or longer and really feeling like, man, this is dragging on. And so, like, when I edit down the show, it really streamlines things more, and I think it sucks people in a little bit more. So, new Switch hardware revision coming out soon. Well, I don't know if I should wait for that. So, the one that won't crack. I don't know anything about that. Somebody, please tell me. I'm very Switch stupid. If I don't know, when you say it cracks, I don't even know what you mean. Or if there's a new hardware, like, I'll wait. I'm not in that big of a hurry. I just really wanted to play the SNK thing, but I'll go over to my friend's house and play it on his Switch. If there's a better one coming, then yeah. Okay. So we blew up a bunch of buildings there. Now phase 2 here is called Peer Pressure, and just once again kill enemies and destroy all buildings. So no problem. This is another single screen level. You have all these guys coming at you all of a sudden here, and you just have to kill them all quickly. That should do it. There you go. So that was easy. It was just, that's like a level where if you're not paying attention when it starts, there's dudes coming at you from all angles and they'll kill you. Yeah, Rockman. I that's really cool feature too that YouTube has now, where it saves your spot. But I could just see some people, because I would do that, saying like, "Whoa, 90 minutes! I'm not watching that." And so, yeah, I just feel like for me, I want to try to have the limit be 60 minutes for really any show I make, even a launch video. If I can't tell the story of a launch in 60 minutes, I either need to figure out a way to tell it more concisely, or split it into 2 episodes. Hey, Tommy's here. Tommy says, I'm just leaving work, so unfortunately I couldn't start watching till now. Well, I'm glad you're here now, at least, Tommy. I forgot what day that was, but just so you know, I got your package, and I recorded. I did a little mail segment yesterday. I recorded for the next episode of Flashback, and I showed your package was awesome, by the way. And your postcard is on the way. It's on its way to you, but I think I dropped the postcards off on like Saturday, and of course yesterday was a federal holiday, so you'll get it sometime this week, I hope. But anyway, I'm glad you're here now. Reeds Bud says, I'm an old dude, I have the time. Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty old dude too, so but I don't have kids. That's also why I have time to sit around and watch YouTube videos. I remember this being a pretty big level. Well, we can just look at the map there. Yeah. The nice thing about this is it does show you where the enemy buildings are. I remember that this level has like this hole in the ground where enemies come out. I guess kind of like the tunnels they had in Vietnam, maybe, or something. Unless I'm confusing this with a different level, but I don't think so. Oh yeah, there's the hole. Whoa! And I don't think you can just throw a grenade down the hole and like seal it up. You can try. I mean, I don't think that did anything. This one has these native guys that you don't have to kill the natives, but again, I think that somebody was making some commentary. So like here, so you have this this like village full of natives. I think one of our guys just got killed. Yep. But there's also enemies in the village, and so you kind of don't have much choice but to destroy the village. Or at the very least, I think you have to destroy the house, or the hut rather, with the door on it. Yeah, see, I think all these guys are coming out of that hole up there. We can't go anywhere this way. I think it's up and around this way we have to go. So I think you can just walk right past this native guy and not have to, yeah, he's not doing nothing. Then we have to go this way. There's a couple guys up here in this cul-de-sac. There's a guy over here. There's going to be some guys coming across the river. If we go up this way, there's some grenades right there. And then if you want to swim across... So when you swim across the river, you're kind of a sitting duck. Like, you can still shoot, but not as much. And so it's real easy to get caught out. So that's why, like, I think now the guys are gone. So now we can come over here. Or you can also, like I said earlier, you can split up your team. And you could just send one guy, if you wanted to, across the river to go pick up those grenades. So now we got to go down here and blow up this last building, I think. At least I think that's the last building. Kill that guy, and... Oh, this guy's not dead yet. Now? No. There's somebody else around here somewhere, so we just got to find him. That's quicksand, I think. I think if you stand around in that, you're going to die. Oh, maybe across this bridge. No? Nothing over here. There must be somebody still alive somewhere on the map, so we have to find him. And then I'll once this mission's over, or phase, I can check the chat room again real quick. Oh yeah, here we go. We got two guys right here. And again, they might have come out of that hole. I mean, I don't think... Yeah, there's not a hut down here to destroy, unless... I can't believe that it makes you destroy this whole village, does it? I guess just to be on the safe side with it. I mean, there's probably just... There's like dudes that hide in the bushes. And if you don't walk past... You know, or they hide in the trees. Here's these three guys. There we go. How many soldiers can you have max? I think 6, but you don't get to pick. Like, it gives you soldiers for different missions, and that's how many you have. So yeah, but you'll see. When we get, I think we still have one more phase of this mission. But when we get back to the home screen, you'll see how many slots there are for your squad. I want to say there's 6 slots. How long is this game? I think this game has 23 missions. Oh yeah, that's cool. Solomon's Key. You can get that. Solomon's Key is a cool game, dude. It's a game I used to play over at good old Jonathan's house. Again, this is all quicksand, so you got to stay out of there. This might be the level that introduces booby traps. So I don't know if you can see that on the stream, but right there's that little silver thing. That's like a mine or like a tripwire. If you go around that way, it'll blow up and kill all your guys. So you have to go around the long way of the quicksand. Come down here to this crate, some more grenades. So now I got 14 grenades. That's pretty good. That's probably more than we need, I'm sure. Ooh, we just lost... Whoa, we just lost 2 guys. Just lost 2 more. I'm getting a little bit too gung-ho. Hopefully... Kind of don't want to step out of this spot right here, but I feel like I might have to. Maybe I can go around this way. Oh, there we go. Alright, so end of the mission. We finished the mission with just 1 guy. So, that didn't go too well, but at least we didn't have to do the mission over again. So, but now we're going to have we're going to have the poppies, yep. Poppy's come back because we lost some more guys in service there. Not CJ. Hey, Anthony, what's up, man? Oh, hey, man, it's Chris from South Dakota. Yeah, dude, I got the package from you, and thank you very much. And I also, when I did the recording yesterday, I did your package. Thanks, man. It was definitely very cool. I talked about it in the video, so you'll see it. But for that reason, your postcard is also on its way. It's like I said, I think I sent those. It was Saturday. I dropped them all off. I had like a whole stack, so I dropped those off at the post office on Saturday morning. But thanks a lot for the package, man. It was really cool. I was going to say something about it, but I don't want to spoil it. So now you can see there's a bunch of more white crosses and whatnot on the hill. And then, I was wrong. There's 8 slots for your squad. That's a big squad. And you see up here under heroes, it lists out, these are all the guys that you've lost and ranked by the number of confirmed kills they have. So like Jops has 42 confirmed kills and CJ had 41. So the only way these guys are going to get displaced is if someone like Tadger here gets 43 or more confirmed kills and then moves up the list, and then Ubik would drop off the list. Did you own any Atari computers growing up? I did not. The only computer, we'll talk about that on Flashback, but the only computer I ever had growing up was I got an outdated like IBM PC clone in like 1990, which we're going to talk about pretty soon, actually. Anything different between this and the DOS version? It's the same game, but this version seems like it's just a little bit better. The DOS version's fine. It's not, sometimes Syndicate, for instance, came out on the Amiga and also came out on the DOS PC. But on the Amiga, I think it's just a 240p, like 320 by 240 roughly game. So it's lower resolution. And on the DOS PC, I think it was 640 by 480. So that game looks much nicer on PC. But the same is not the case with Cannon Fodder. It's still a pretty low resolution game. So if you have, well, I'm sure you could. It would be a lot easier if you want to check out Cannon Fodder to install like DOSBox on your computer and play it that way. Because like I briefly mentioned earlier, Amiga emulation is a pretty huge pain in the butt. And I don't really know why. I don't know enough about just emulators and how they work to understand why some are so much harder to emulate than others. But, there's like WinUAE, I think is sort of like the emulator that everybody uses, the Amiga emulator for Windows. But there's like all kinds of weird configurations you have to do, and like that's part of the reason I never got that into the Amiga when I was like checking out other games and doing like emulation is Amiga emulation is not straightforward. Like DOSBox is pretty straightforward, I would say. You still have to deal with some of the headaches involved with just playing any games on DOS, as far as like, memory management and having to edit your config.sys file and all that kind of crud. But emulating the Amiga is like a whole nother animal. I don't remember if there's anything over here I need to go see. I guess I could have just... Wow, see, look, that's like a long, skinny level. Yeah, I think I'm going the wrong way. There's nothing I need to go see this way, so we'll head back this way. Can I pause the game? Oh yeah, that pauses the game. Did you ever use the Prodigy online service? I didn't. I had BBSs I dialed into. I had America Online later. I never had Prodigy or CompuServe. I wish I did, but because they certainly, it seemed like a cool thing. Like, you know, back when I had my DOS computer, it would have been cool to kind of get online with it. You know, at least like, you know, I spend a lot of time when I'm doing show research, like reading old Usenet posts, and it would have been really cool. Wow. It would have been really cool to be able to get on Usenet back then. But I didn't even know Usenet existed. Ooh, lost one of my guys there. Trying to remember, is this the level that has dudes with rocket launchers? You can see, by the way, I guess I didn't point it out. We had, oh yeah, rocket launchers. Oh, get out of the way, get out of the way. So you see this guy right here. You can barely, I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, you can see it on the stream. He has a bazooka on his shoulder. So, I'm trying to remember how this works. Here we go. So you see, you can just take one guy and get him killed. I don't know how we're gonna. Ooh. There we go. But there's more. That's the problem. Like, that guy has one. There's another guy over here that has one. I almost think we have to go all the way up and around. We're probably screwed here, but until I'm actually screwed, I'm not going to give up. So, and plus, I think that's probably the last guy in this level that we have to kill. So, if we swim across the river up here, maybe we can lob a grenade, like over the trees or something. No. There we go. Got him. At the end? Alright, we got him. You can, I'm pretty, yeah, you can pick up a rocket launcher. I don't currently have one, obviously. What was my first ISP? My first ISP was probably America Online, I guess. But I didn't have it for that long. I didn't get like a Windows. I never had like a Windows 95 machine. I had a DOS PC until 1998, and then I finally got a machine that could run modern Windows, and then I got a goodness. Just lost another guy. Killed him. So you see the game's starting to get kind of hard now. Yeah, so I had a DOS PC until 1998, and then I don't know if do you guys remember they used to have these computer shows like at the fairgrounds. I mean, I can't imagine it was that much different wherever you guys live, but you know, you'd go to these computer shows that would be like at the fairgrounds or in like the exhibit hall, of a hotel or something. And you could go buy like computer parts or whole computers for you know, a lot cheaper than retail. And I went to one of those and I bought the parts to put together. What are these barrels? Oh, now I have rocket launchers. Now you guys are screwed. I bought the parts to put together a Windows 98 machine, and I think that's when I got America Online, just because like I didn't even know what else to get. How do you? There we go. Okay, got it. But then not long after that, I signed up for I don't know if you guys remember AT&T WorldNet. Oh. Yeah, I signed up for AT&T WorldNet, and I even like if you had that, you could build your own website, and I did that. I had a little website that was just stupid. It was like a little personal website, like because I saw other people doing it, and I was like, oh, I should get that. Thanks, Tommy, man, that's awesome. Appreciate it. Watching the stream at a bar with a beer and a burger, dude, that sounds awesome. I wanted a burger so bad for lunch today, but I didn't get one. what kind of beer are you drinking, and what kind of burger are you? Just a standard burger, or and yeah, if you just got off work, man, you deserve a beer and a burger, as far as I'm concerned. Weird seeing the Tandy on an Amiga game. Yeah, I just when Yura made my overlay, I sent the Tandy picture just because, like, to me, like, I mean, I don't have one, but I just love old Tandy computers, and like I think the Tandy 1000 was like the coolest computer, PC clone, and so yeah, I just wanted to use the Tandy monitor. It was Yura's idea to put the Tandy joystick in there, but this is going to be the same overlay for all the classic computer streams that I do. So even if it's like an Apple, I want to do. I have an Apple II. We could stream that sometime. Commodore 64, and then, like I said, for sure DOS PC. Yeah, GeoCities and Angel Fire. Yeah, but with those GeoCities and Angel Fire things were free because they would display ads on your website, right? But my website was like worldnet.att.net / like my name or something, and there was no ads because it was something you got for paying for their service. So oh, Tommy, you're having a youngling. I've never had. We can't get that around here. I didn't know you could get that where you are either. I thought that was like a Michigan thing, but I probably just don't know what I'm talking about. It's a shame that Radio Shack brought back Tandy right before they went out of business. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It kind of is. I saw, Lazy Game Reviews bought like the Tandy branded computer, keyboard and mouse, and I thought that was kind of neat. It's funny you mentioned Radio Shack, I guess, because I mentioned Radio Shack, but that's actually what the next episode of Flashback is all about. Is all about Radio Shack. And that's probably why I talked about it for 90 minutes, is because I loved Radio Shack. All right, so we got wiped out, so now we have to play this whole level again. And we went that way the first time, and there's a guy over there with a rocket launcher. So I'm thinking we should take that guy out later. And right now, we should go down this way so that we can get ourselves a rocket launcher. Because I think that was down here, wasn't it? What is Youngling? Is it just like a logger, I guess? Probably. I don't even know anything about it. It seems like it kind of has a following with a lot of people. When I was in, I went to Chicago for work one time at my old job, and there's the big local beer, cheap, not cheap, but just drinking beer down there is Old Style. And I definitely drank a lot of Old Style while I was there. Oh crap. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Got him. Did I blow up the building though too, or no? Well, I definitely did that time. Check the map real fast. We're up here. Oh, we have to go way over there. So it seems like where we want to go is up along the top and then try to cross where there's that little creek, but there's probably going to be like mad fools up there, but we'll find out. So we'll go cross up here. Ooh. Wow. It seems like, with a level like this, it's just trial and error. You gotta know where the guys are hiding. Well, I've been streaming now for about 2.5 hours, so, I think I'd actually maybe kind of like to kind of wind things down. I just really wanted you guys to check out Cannon Fodder, but, certainly you should get to, play it for yourself instead of just watching me play the whole thing. So, I would say I'd load up another demo, but I don't even know what another good demo really is. Oh, Younglings from Pennsylvania. All right, like I didn't know that. Yeah, CB's from Radio Shack. Yeah, I miss the smell of Radio Shack. I used to work in Radio Shack. Well, I don't want to say anymore. I'll talk about that. I talk about all that in the next episode of Flashback. So, Vinny's first game console was a Tandy TRS-80. That's pretty cool. Are all the Radio Shacks gone now? As far as I know. Morpheus, you're still waiting for Rough and Tumble. All right, we'll check out some Rough and Tumble. Oh, because that way you guys can see how the floppy emulator works. Because I'm going to have to go find it. But that's not a problem. So, okay. So now I'm going to reboot the computer, and it's going to boot into the floppy emulator front end. So you can see it. See you later, Reeds Bud. We're just going to play this one game real quick, and then I really am going to go, because I'm starting to get a kind of a headache. I am pretty tired. Old style is better than youngling. All right. I don't know. So, complains that my firmware is outdated. It's fine. So this is what the front end of the floppy emulator looks like. So, it's like a file browser. So, we have to find Rough and Tumble. So we go into Games, and then they're sorted by letter, just like in EverDrive. And hopefully the game is in here, but I think pretty much every game is in here, so I'm going to be surprised if it's not. Maybe it's not. There's Ruffian. I don't see a Rough and Tumble. Are you sure you have the name right, Morpheus? Let me Google it real fast. Amiga Rough and Tumble. No, you're right. It's there. Why don't I have it? Oh, wait a minute. Is this if this is a game that requires you to have an AGS system, then I can't play it. It came out in 94, so I wonder if that's the problem. Let me just here we go, Lemon Amiga. 9 out of 10 comments, rough and ready. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean for you guys to have to sit here and watch me read the internet, but I mean, Rough and Tumble's not on here, and I'm trying to figure out. The only reason I can think of why it wouldn't be on here is if it's a game that requires you to have an AGS system like an Amiga 1200. Then that would explain why I don't have it. But I don't really see where it says that. But I mean, as you can see, it's not on here. I don't really know why. So I'm sorry, Morpheus. I did write it down though. In fact, I'll even make sure to write down Amiga next to it. Oh man, thanks for the contribution. You don't have to do that, especially after you sent me a package. But I really appreciate it. You guys are very generous, and you know, I've said it many times, but I'll just say it again. You know, I just want to make sure you guys know that when you make those contributions, they go back into the show. It's not like I'm taking your money and putting gas in my car, or you know, buying McDonald's with it or something. Yeah, like I said, Morpheus, I'll look into it. If I can play it on this system, then I'll get the images and put them on here, and then just remind me next time, and we'll check it out. So, is Rolling Thunder a good port on the Amiga? I mean, let's find out. Since you know we were gonna play one more game, so let's play one more game. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so anyway, you see that I highlighted Rolling Thunder, hit enter, and that takes us to the slot selection. And this has all the other games that we checked out in these different slots, and then you can select those slots with the buttons on the front of the floppy drive emulator. So we're gonna stick that in slot 14, and then hit F10 to reboot. And then, what happened? Oh, I might not have waited long enough to, hold on. I think I made a mistake. McDonald's is great. I almost went to McDonald's today. I was really craving for something today. And I don't go to McDonald's that much just because here where I live, it's kind of out of the way, and it's kind of a parking nightmare to try to park at McDonald's. Otherwise, I would go because, I mean, McDonald's, I've been eating at McDonald's since I was like 4. I mean, McDonald's is delicious. But I ended up not going, but I went, spoilers or whatever. I went, no, there it is. What's the problem? Why didn't it want to... If I hit F7? Oh, here we go. All right. Rolling Thunder is loading. I've never. Some of the games on here don't work. Maybe they're bad cracks or something. So we'll see if it loads or not. But and then for sure, I mean, this is going to be the last one. So if anybody else has anything else they want to talk about, please tell me. They got the McRib right now. I'm going to be honest. I don't like the McRib. That thing gets so hyped up, and I finally tried one. And I didn't like it at all. I don't even really understand, like, why is that like a limited edition thing? It's not even that good. It's all about the quarter pounder. That's what I say. That's usually either a Big Mac or a quarter pounder. They got that new quarter pounder now, but I tried it. I don't really see the difference between the new quarter pounder and the old quarter pounder. The McRib is gross. Yes, thank you. It reminds me, when I was in high school, one of the things you could get at the cafeteria was called a Ribicue. And it was pretty much the exact same thing as a McRib. It was like this patty of, I guess, rib meat. And wow, this is not good at all. Look at it's like 3 frames per second. Wow, whose idea was it for me to play this? I'm just kidding. It really is bad though. So the one we had in high school, the Ribicue, it was still that patty of rib meat. It had some barbecue sauce on the patty, but they didn't give you any extra. So like there was a little bit of like barbecue sauce residue, but not like the McRib. At least like the McRib I had was kind of swimming in barbecue sauce. And then of course it has onions on it, and there were no onions on the one I got in high school. So Vinny says, with the chickens, do you just have them for eggs? Just eggs, and there are pets, both. How much better are they than eggs, store-bought eggs? It depends on what eggs you buy at the store. You kind of get what you pay for with eggs, and good eggs, unfortunately, at the store are a lot more expensive than just standard run-of-the-mill eggs. Like, I mean, you can get a dozen eggs for like a couple bucks, right? If you just get like the, sweatshop eggs or whatever. But, you can easily, at least here in I know everything's more expensive in California, but I mean, you can easily drop like $9 or maybe even $10 on a dozen eggs if you get it from like pasture-raised chickens. The eggs really do, taste better, and they have like a better texture and whatnot. But I mean, I go out to eat, at like a diner or something, and you get their eggs, and those are the cheap eggs, and I mean, they're still pretty good eggs. I mean, eggs are like Chinese food, even bad eggs are still pretty good, as long as they're not like rotten eggs or something. But so yeah, I mean, we eat our chickens' eggs, and, obviously our chickens are very well taken care of. The thing with chickens is like the quality of the eggs is a reflection of whatever their diet was. And we feed our chickens well, but our chickens have they kind of have not the run of the whole backyard anymore, but at least the run of a lot of the backyard. So they do a lot of scratching, eating various like bugs and whatnot. They also get a lot of greens, which seems to help them to produce better eggs. Come on, you going up or what? This game's really bad. I would really rather play something else. So, or we can just not play, and we can kind of wind things down. Switch to 60 hertz. Oh yeah, that probably would have helped. But nah, that game really wasn't worth switching to anything, I think. My local Aldi has egg dozens for 79 cents. Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's just like, when you can get a dozen regular eggs for 79 cents, asking someone to spend $8 or something on pasture-raised eggs is kind of a hard sell. I mean, if you're trying to be budget conscious, then that's probably not the best decision you can make shopping-wise. Your wife wants chicken. The HOA says otherwise. Yeah, man, HOAs suck, dude. Ryan Mendoza says this game is awful, and he's absolutely correct. Game audio is louder than you are. That's just plain unacceptable. But that's because I turned the game audio up because we were playing Cannon Fodder, and I forgot to turn it back down. You buy the $7 dozens too. Yeah, they really are better, but it's just like, I understand for some people, they don't have extra money to spend on $7 eggs. Wendy's Asiago. It's funny you mentioned Wendy's. We don't have a Wendy's where I live anymore, and it's probably about 20 minutes up the freeway for me to get to a Wendy's, and I almost went there today, but that's going towards the wildfires, and the air here is so bad that they basically canceled work where I work, and so I'm not going to go drive towards the fires just so I can get a chicken sandwich and a Frosty. So I didn't. Yeah, I've never played around with Uber Eats, Morpheus. That would be kind of cool to check out, though. I just got. That's funny. Their ears must have been burning. I just got a text saying that we have work tomorrow. So, well, that's fine. I already had a 3-day weekend, and that turned it into a 4-day weekend, so we don't have to have a 5-day weekend. Yeah, anyway, I don't know. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Otherwise, I think we're going to be about done here. Like I said, this was, it's been, what is it? It's 9:21. I've been streaming for just shy of 3 hours. So I had a good time, though. Not complaining. Maybe just real quick. So, future, streams, I'll be streaming again next Tuesday. We're going to do, Neo Geo for sure. We're going to do PlayStation, and we're going to do Saturn. I don't know what order. I'm not telling you the order of the next 3 Tuesdays. I'm really not sure. Corey from My Life in Gaming is going to come on for the PlayStation stream, and my friend Alex, who's the host of the Retro Game Squad podcast, is going to come on for the Saturn live stream. So part of it just depends on their schedules and when they can do that, because I don't really care what I stream what week. I just want to play video games. So if neither of them are available next week, then we'll probably do Neo Geo next week. And, just generally speaking, if anybody has suggestions or requests, I know we haven't done a Super Nintendo stream yet, so we should do that pretty soon. Vinny says, do you like In-N-Out? No, I love In-N-Out. And I could have gotten that today too, but I didn't. Sorry, Sand Plasma. But it'll be up, the stream will be up by tomorrow at the latest. It's just after I quit streaming, YouTube has to chew on it for a little while. Vinny likes Corey. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Bring Try on too. We'll see if he wants to. I don't know. I just get along more with, I like them both. I'm not saying, but Corey and I are kind of friends, and maybe Try not quite as much. You need to join John Linneman on live stream. He's great. Or LGR. Well, I don't think LGR is coming on to one of my live streams, and I don't actually know John Linneman just outside of like Twitter. So I'm not saying no. I'm just I guess I don't know him, and so yeah, In-N-Out loyalist for life. That's good. Yeah, living in California means you get to eat a lot of In-N-Out. The Mr. FPGA does Amiga emulation very well, said Smoke Monster. Well, that's another reason to get it then, that Mr. FPGA seems like it's promising. It's not something that I need, but just for some of you guys, if you don't already have all the game consoles, I mean, FPGA-based systems, in my opinion, are going to be the future of retro gaming, especially as the price of hardware keeps going up and the price of games keeps going up. and you're already starting to see problems now with game consoles where, like, a lot of them, you have capacitors going bad. Like, I know I have one of my Genesis systems needs to be recapped, if not both of them. Like I mentioned on Twitter, I did pre-order that Mega SG console, which is my first time buying something from Analog. And I don't even really know why I got it, except it's supposed to have a little adapter so that you can play Game Gear games on it, so that might be cool. But, I mean, the Genesis is one of my favorite consoles, and I thought it would be cool to finally check out one of Analog's products. Maybe if I like that, I'll buy a Super NT. I mean, I already have two Super Nintendos. I don't really need a Super NT, but it might be kind of cool to have. So, yeah, I've never been to Whataburger. I've been in a Shake Shack, but I didn't eat. I went there with a friend of mine. I already ate and he hadn't, so we went to Shake Shack. Any Black Friday deals you're looking for? Not really. I mean, I thought I wanted a Switch, but now you guys have scared me into waiting for the next hardware revision. What do you think about the $12 million judgment Nintendo just won over their ROMs? Yeah, that was that Love ROM site that they basically sued the couple that ran the Love ROM site, and they got awarded $12 million. To be honest, the first thing, for those of you who are old enough to remember, the first thing that reminded me of was Metallica versus Napster. And look how that turned out. I mean, people still think about that when they look at Metallica. I mean, I think Metallica kind of slid in popularity only because the style of music kind of declined around that time. But at the end of the day, Metallica walked away from that looking bad, not the guy that started Napster. And I really wish that, companies like Nintendo would be more proactive and say that, obviously there's a lot more demand for digital versions of these games, and they need to look at what the music industry does and figure out how to sell ROMs to people and get whoever the rights holders are of those games their money. And, people can say, like, oh, well, some of those companies are gone and blah, blah, blah. And, like, yeah, maybe, but somehow the music industry makes it work. I can go on Amazon and buy an MP3 of just about anything, and they figure out who to pay because they have, like, ASCAP and whatever the other royalty organization is that divvies up all that money. And at some point, someone needs to step up and do that with old video games. Because, for someone like me, I don't need to illegally download ROMs. Like, I am very happy to go pay if I need, like, I don't illegally download music anymore. I used to like crazy in the Napster days and whatnot. But now if I want an MP3, it's just easier. I'll go on Amazon. Here's your 99 cents or here's your $1.29. Give me my song and we're done. And the same thing would be true if there was some ROM that for some reason I didn't have that I needed for whatever reason. If I could go to some website and throw them $1 or $2 and get a copy of it, I would do that, and I honestly think that so would most people. And if that weren't the case, then you wouldn't see the prevalence of digitally downloaded music now. I mean, that started out as an illegal thing, and now it's a legal thing because people figured out, like, oh, that's what people want. In-N-Out animal-style fries, yeah, those are pretty good, I agree. If you do a Super Nintendo stream, True Lies is a sleeper. Great. Well, let me write that down because I did not know that. True Lies. I love the movie True Lies. I saw that one in the movie theater. I bet we'll get a gaming historian video on the Nintendo lawsuit eventually. Yeah, probably. I don't know. That dude makes really good videos, so that would be cool. Thoughts on the CollectorVision Phoenix FPGA ColecoVision? I don't know anything about it. That's something that I might be interested in. I don't have a ColecoVision, and I had one a long time ago, and I haven't had it. I got rid of that probably 10 years ago. And I don't really miss it, but at the same time, if there was an FPGA version, I'd get it. You said ETA Prime says the same thing. I don't know who that is, but he must be smart if he agrees with me. I'm just kidding. Anybody know a place to get high-res audio files legally? No. Jamie Lee Curtis and True Lies, you got that right. Yeah, I think that's about it for tonight then. I think conversation's kind of winding down. I'm sorry that there are 88 people in here that I'm disappointing by stopping the stream, but I'm getting pretty tired, and my wife's going to go to bed in like a half an hour, and so if I want to spend any time with her, I got to go do it now. Barring a natural disaster, though, we'll be back next Tuesday. I don't know when the flashback episode's going to be up. Like I said, it's long, so I got to do a lot of editing before I can get it up. But I also have other stuff I have to work on. I have to get a magazine read-through done this month because of the sponsorship thing. And then obviously I'm still working on the Sega Dreamcast launch, which I wanted to have out by Thanksgiving, and now that's obviously not going to happen. But we'll see. I'll figure out what to stream for next Tuesday. But again, that's going to depend on other people's schedules. But we'll stream something. It'd be cool to just do the Neo Geo next week, because then you'd see Gunlord after seeing Turrican this week. So we'll just see what happens. So yeah, good night to everybody. Thank you for all you guys for hanging out. Thanks for the contributions to the show. That's really helpful. And I will see you guys all again very soon. So good night.